Greetings, this is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. Today we're going to do a book read. What is the book? It's a mystery. So, I got this book almost 4 or 5 years ago, intending to do a book read on it, but for some reason or another, I never opened it. So we're gonna do that today and just jump right into it. Let me make sure I didn't put this live stream on private. If you can hear me, say something. Okay, there we go. Awesome. So, let's begin. This is a, what's it called? When you have something locked in a time capsule for like years, and then you just now open it. I can't think of the word. I think time capsule is the word. I better plug this in. Alright, let's get right into it. Here it is. Handbook for a New Paradigm. I seriously haven't read this in years. As you can see, I just now unpacked it, so I barely even remember what's in it. Okay, it's got tiny text. We won't finish it, but hopefully there's something here in the first chapter that will be inspiring enough that you might go out and get it yourself. Let's find out. Okay. Peace to everybody here. Sunshine Chick, always good to see you. Lance Benefield, peace, peace, brother. AZW, peace. Wolf and Syrian, peace, peace. Relax You Good 11, peace. Tom Mail, peace, peace. You will win daily. Let's flip this camera around, shall we? Let's flip this camera around, shall we? Now, in case you don't know, this is the book that we're going to be getting into for our serious real deal study. As far as I know, this might be the deepest occult book that we've done on this channel. But I'm going to give you some time to go ahead and grab your copy if you want to study it along with us. So if you don't have the Cosmic Doctrine, go ahead and order that on Amazon. You still have a week, because we're going to dive into it next Saturday. Next Saturday, we're going to dive into it. So I want you to be prepared. Natural Sistar, peace. I've been looking forward to seeing you catch a live stream. I hope that your study is going excellently. I hope it's exciting and fulfilling. All right, but in the meantime, in between time, let's see what this one has to say. The messages contained in this handbook are intended to lift mankind from the entrapment of the victim consciousness that keeps the level of experience ensnared in fear and frustration. Humanity was intended to live not in luxury, but in abundance. Amen to that. The information found between these covers will lead all that read and reread with an open mind to the discovery of the truth of who and what they truly are. The end of the search for these answers is provided at last in clarity and conciseness. There are no recriminations or feelings of guilt to be gleaned from these pages. There is clarity and upliftment in each segment. It is the intent and purpose of this small book to encourage every reader to live in accordance with the plainly disclosed, simple laws that underlay all that each comprehends as life. Each segment leads to greater understanding, to a simple application that encompasses them in entirety, in a few words that guarantee absolute change in your day-to-day experience. You have only to think or speak them with diligence and sincerity at every appropriate opportunity. To become is your purpose and your heritage. Oh yeah. J Bald Hail, peace. Happy Saturday. Come on in, come on in. Lisa, peace, good evening. Is it your birthday? Handbook for the New Paradigm. Let's get this thing cracking. Like I said, I think I read this book in 2015, so it's gonna kind of be like super fresh for me again. I don't think it was anything terrible, but let's see what we're working with. Let's see what we're working with. Handbook for the New Paradigm. Ashe to the Order of the Unicorn. Ashe to the Order of the Phoenix. A personal message for you. Damn, they just go right into it. Okay. Are you ready? Are you steady? I certainly hope so. All right, how's the volume? Is the audio right? Is the music not too loud? Can you hear the sound of my voice? Everything good? Everything balanced? Lance Benefield says perfect, awesome. Any objection? To the perfection. Cool. All right, here we go. Here we go. Volume 1. Wait, let me get my highlighter as well because I might need it. Man, how y'all feeling tonight? Let me know how y'all feeling tonight. Are we in a good mood? Are we in a positive mood? Are we ready to learn? Are we engaged? Are we feeling kind of bummed out? Are we tired? Are we sleepy? Did we just get off work? Did we just get out of the gym? How we feeling? Are you hungry? Because if you're hungry, go grab something to eat. Did you hydrate? Make sure you are hydrated. And I don't mean alcohol. Magus community. Let's get this thing going. Coffee is brewed. Tapped in. Sip 1. Back on the Unicorn Fruity Pebbles coffee with the Rice Krispie Treats creamer. I don't know if it gets any better than that. Okay, here we go. Lance Benefield says certain people on YouTube that have never done it is now having book clubs. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey. Trendsetter. When you're on the right path, everyone on the wrong path has no choice to eventually come around. I don't know who you're talking about, but hey, good on them. Good on them. Alex Cuckoo, peace. Oath, peace. Anna Molly, peace. Peace. All right, let's do it. Patricia Carr says, I finished reading. May you turn the page. May you slow the hell down. Or do whatever you want. Volume 1. This is a point in the evolution of the planet that brings to the forefront of each individual's thoughts the question of why me? Why now? And what is really going on in the reality that is right now in the time we are experiencing? What really is going on behind the scenes we are looking at through the five senses? Why is there this feeling that there is more to the story than just appearances? Who indeed has set this up and is pulling the strings? Is it really just a group of somebodies that is in charge? If this is the case, then is the God thing really a hoax after all? There are those who believe that to be the true essence of the scenario. Fortunately, for the good of all, that is not the truth. Okay? J. Baldhill says, was honestly having a tough day, but this group gets me feeling right again. Thank you, TK. Awesome. Awesome. Glad to hear. All right, that was just the first paragraph. Let's see where we're going with this. The truth is that there are multiple levels of activity behind what appears to be a play of incredible magnitude. Who then is writing the lines for the characters, and what is the point of the script? Would it be a surprise to inform you that you are writing the lines, and until you can figure out a point to the script, there is none? Woo! Drop a bomb on you on the first page. Let me read that one again. Would it be a surprise to inform you that you are writing the lines of this play, and until you can figure out a point to the script, there is none? I like that. I like that. I'm going to use that again in the future. I'm going to use that again in the future. If that is the case, then which of the individuals on the planet can figure one out? Well, indeed, there is a focused group that has decided that they would like to put forth their point in the script. There's just one problem with this. They have decided to put forth a focus within the play that is not in harmony with the creator of the stage and the theater that this play is performed upon. In fact, the plan this group has in mind has a great surprise at the end for the audience and the actors on the stage. They intend to destroy the audience, the actors, the stage, and the theaters. I wonder what group he might be talking about. This coffee is too good. I mean, it's like, I feel like I'm being spoiled. Let's continue. By the way, this book is not a secret. If you want to get it for yourself, it's called The Handbook for the New Paradigm. You can see it right there in the top right-hand corner of the page, right there. Let's continue. Since the creator of this theater likes this particular theater and thinks of it as a pet project, this idea doesn't appeal to him at all. Since he is not in the business of standing in the way of the creative presentations that are produced within its confines, then he is hoping that the audience will decide to make changes of their own. There is a type of presentation that involves participation of the audience other than just sitting and observing. Kind of like this one, eh? The theater entrepreneur is wondering that if the play being presented becomes obnoxious enough to the audience, will they simply walk away and withdraw their attention? This would then allow the cast and its directors to destroy themselves. But then the theater owner does not want his property destroyed along with them. He is hoping that the audience will come up with some other solution. Perhaps there could be audience participation that would perhaps introduce some new characters that would create lines of script of their own. If a new storyline could be introduced with characters that could change the ending, then the performance could be a comedy, or a mystery, or a love story, rather than a tragedy. Maybe the audience participation could indeed create a whole new genre of experience. Instead of depicting repetition of experiences already known, could the audience in the intensity of desire change the storyline come up with a creative scenario that would encompass possibilities not yet experienced? Why not? The greater the desire for change, the greater the opportunity for creative new boundary expanding story themes. Within the spontaneity of group focus, without the academic control of leadership with an intended purpose, conception outside of ordinary themes is not only possible, it is probable. Okay, interesting. So we've got a stage, we've got an audience, we've got the actors and the directors, and the creator of this whole thing. Looks like we've got a couple different parties who want control. And it looks like control is something that the audience could be a part of if only they knew. Hot coffee. To what purpose is this discussion being instigated? It is time that you awaken to your responsibility to change the destination of the path you are now being pushed to take. It is far past the stage of leading you. It is at the stage of pushing you. It is at the stage where resistance cannot be successful. Therefore, you are going to have to accomplish this by some other means. Let me read that again in case you weren't listening. It is time that you awaken to your responsibility to change the destination of the path you are now being pushed to take. It is far past the stage of leading you. It is at the stage of pushing you. It is at the stage where resistance cannot be successful. Did you hear that? It is at the stage where resistance cannot be successful. Therefore, you are going to have to accomplish this by some other means. A way must be literally created that will bring about a solution. Nothing that you have done before will accomplish a change in this situation. Those who have brought you to this point know your current human nature so well that every possibility you can think of has been blocked. You better listen up. That was the line that had me like, oh shit. Back in 2015. And still, right? A way must literally be created that will bring about a solution. Nothing that you have done before will accomplish a change in the situation. Nothing. Those who have brought you to this point know your current human nature so well, right? So well that every possibility you can think of has been blocked. As Brother Panic said, whatever you plan on doing, they have an answer for that, right? You want to get together and form a group and get organized, there's an answer for that, right? You want to strap up and weaponize and this, that, and the third. There's an answer for everything that the basic ass emotional person has already presented. Every cell of resistance is well known by them and is allowed to exist because it has a purpose in their plan. These will be used as graphic examples of what they will not allow. Patricia Carr. The book is called Handbook for the New Paradigm. Starlion Peace. Now you must come into the understanding that there is a passage through this experience for mankind, but you must move into a creative stance, not a resistive posture. What's that? He says you must come into the understanding that there is a passage through this experience for mankind, but you must move into a creative stance, not a resistive posture. Creative, not resistive. This is not what is expected of you based on your past modes of experience. I can assure you that your history has been analyzed and studied by minds and computer model to the point that you are known to an extent you cannot even imagine. See, a lot of people refuse to believe that because it's very painful to the ego. But I need you to understand, right? Your history has been analyzed and studied by minds and computer model to the point that you are known to an extent that you can't even imagine. And NLP is only a piece of it. we're outside of the realm of new shit, right? We're outside of the realm of new stuff. How do y'all keep asking for the title of the book, like, right after I say it? You must have the phone on mute. Serious Suit 888, peace. Every reactive scenario has been dissected to the cellular level and restrictive actions planned for each of them. You are faced with the possibility of your extinction. You are faced with the possibility of your extinction unless you can make a cosmic leap to a level of creative imagination that will completely nullify those plans. Have you not computers of your own? Can you not band into creative discussion groups and ask for entry into the mind of that which created you? Where two or more of you are gathered together in my name within the focused desire for harmonious understanding, there am I also. Interesting, right? Patricia Carr says, I can't find the book. Gotta look on Amazon, I guess. Handbook for the New Paradigm. I got this off of Amazon. I mean, there's a PDF floating around. That's the first place I read it. Other than that, you can follow along with the screen. I know that you're a fast reader. Cries. Richard Tracy says, what page are we on? See, Richard Tracy found it. This is page 4. We right in the beginning. Cries and begging to be relieved of the situation by God or Jesus, Buddha, or Muhammad will not do it. You have allowed this evil to descend upon you, and so it is you, individually and collectively, that must take it upon yourselves to conceive this solution. Right? Ain't no crying and begging to God, to Jesus, to Buddha, to Muhammad. You've allowed this evil to descend upon you, and so it is you that must take it upon yourselves to conceive a solution. A new consciousness change must take place within you. Not all of humanity will choose to participate. There will be some that will hide their heads in blame and grovel in victimhood. So be it. Let them. You have no time to recruit among them. For what of creativity could they offer? This is a clarion call to the consciousness of those with the strength of character to stand up within their own consciousness awareness and decide this situation shall not be allowed to continue to its planned contemplation. Even those who are in the midst of that abominable plan have no idea that the end is indeed to be annihilation. Unfortunately, it is not only planned to be annihilation of the people and the planet, but of realms beyond imagination. Ooh, the plot thickens. It's even deeper, even deeper. Sly says, what year was it published? Post 2020, I hope. Nope. Looks like this was published around 2012. I believe it said 2012 in the beginning. Jay Baldhail, you caught that relive your burden, right? I think that these are bots and programs. Like, these might not actually be people that are popping in here talking about Jesus. Let's keep going. How shall it be done? How can a change come about in the midst of such a lack of understanding of who and what you are? Now, while there is yet time before the noose tightens, movement about the planet is yet possible. Groups shall come together to stretch their conscious awareness, to invoke the aid of the highest of sources of knowledge, to assist them in conceiving a new way of experiencing manifested existence. This must not be copied from any other experience. We got to make this part clear, right? Number one, anything that you previously thought of that's like the immediate A-B answer, that's not the one. And secondly, if you see something that has worked already, it's not something that you can just copy and do it too. You following what I'm saying here? Like, what he's saying here is that it's not about resistance like everybody's trying to preach, right? We gotta fight back. We gotta. You don't have the equipment to fight back. And I'm talking about mentally. So it's not about fight back. It's about being creative to the point that you override these evil plans. But these folks ain't thinking like that. Let's continue. It must be literally a conceptual leap, not in its entirety, but in invocation of the beginning framework of such an experience. Yo, this first piece is already so powerful because basically what he's saying here is like, yeah, there's an issue to be dealt with. Whether you're afraid of the demiurge, or if you're afraid of the archons, or you're afraid of the Illuminati, or if you're afraid of the Freemasons, whatever group it is that makes you shiver your timbers, right? Whatever the boogeyman is for you. All the folks that are on social media providing you with the solution as far as we got to fight back and burn some sage and that'll get rid of the Freemasons. Whatever is being talked about is not the answer. You have to be so creative that you go outside of the box. That's step one. That's not even step 5. That's step 1. This is something that has to be worked on. Otherwise, hang it up. Hang it up. This is not your fight. This is not your type of war. Go pay attention to Diddy and see what the diddler's doing. He said that this must not be copied from any other experience. It must be literally a conceptual leap, not in its entirety, but an invocation of the beginning framework of such an experience. This is not a process that can be spelled out. It is shadowy in the beginning as it is conceived as a possibility, and so it should be. Known boundaries of experience must be transcended. I'm telling y'all, remember this. The answer must be something that you reach beyond your limits to find. Right? Reach beyond your limits to find. A superhuman assignment, indeed, but not at all impossible. Out of challenge born of desire and necessity comes the conception of that which is different. Lisa asks, Travis, are you still doing classes? Absolutely. Absolutely. This coming up month here, April, we're going to be doing cyclomancy. Round 2, final round of cyclomancy. Unlock your psychic ability. If that sparks your interest, that's what we're doing. Coupled with some workshops in shadow work. Has mankind on this planet been presented with this opportunity before? Indeed. But each time he reverted to known strategies. Are y'all hearing what he's saying here? You got to think outside the box. Now it has been of his creation that this situation exists. Now it has been of his creation that this situation exists. It has been his task to make this leap, and so he has now made it so that it must be undertaken or face the possibility that he may cease to exist. All of this is his own doing. Mankind has no one else to blame, so it must be a 180-degree turn from past refusal to take on the whole project to taking it on with resolve and dedication. All right, that's chapter 1. Let's see what chapter 2 is talking about. The focus of energy that holds this planet in orbit within the solar system does not require the power of force to do this, but uses an available process that does not require effort. The concept of power has within it the inherent understanding of effort as force. The concept of power has within it the inherent understanding of effort as force. Since thought attracts, you have brought to you the experience of effort, force, and power. Since thought attracts, you have brought to you the experience of effort, force, and power. There are other experiences available that do not use this concept. Rocketry projects are an example. Your resources are used to effort one rocket and its payload into orbit of this planet. And then beyond. Yet, you are visited by beings of other planets that enter and leave your planet's gravitational field without this wasteful effort. Does this prove to you that there are other ways to accomplish movement without such wasteful and dangerous methods? The search for answers to this question intrigues the mind. There are many that know these possibilities exist, but are unable to envision the answers without the need of using great effort to resist what they envision ties them to this planet. It is not the gravitational field that ties them here. It is the consciousness. It is the interactivity of thought acting upon thought that eludes them. They know that their thoughts can influence the outcome of an experiment. However, the concept that thought once projected can be released to interact within itself, and that it can produce an outcome beyond a controlled or desired outcome is not understood. The need to control, observe, and to prove the process prevents them from reaching into new realms of understanding. What is lacking is the ability to trust that the process can only proceed within positive outcomes once it is released to act within and upon itself. Thought released to act upon itself will return in manifestation glorified, and in a form more magnificent than the limited focused mind can imagine. I'll highlight that one. Peace, Stray Panther. Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, brethren. Useless Familiar, peace. Useless Familiar says, do you do consultations? How to set up an appointment? I do. Do you have me on Instagram? Lisa asks, so do I pick the major student or apprentice? Which one should I pick? I'm gonna announce the cyclomancy class here within the next week. So just stay tuned to a video that I post about it. I'm gonna provide a link that you can sign up to the class with. It'll be independent of YouTube. Stray Panther says, just bought this book on Amazon. B asks, what frequency is in the background? This is the Negro frequency. All right, let's continue. Thought released to act upon itself. I don't know what frequency it is. I didn't check the number itself. Thought released to act upon itself will return in manifestation glorified, and in a form more magnificent than the limited focused mind can imagine. Now the challenge comes to those who desire to be the instruments of changing the negative plans for the destiny of this planet, right? The challenge comes to those who desire to be the instruments of changing the negative plans for the destiny of this planet. Can you expand your consciousness to encompass the process that lies just beyond your grasp? It will be necessary for you to begin with the basic desire of participating within a new paradigm of experience. However, to leave the known and desire to venture into the unknown requires the courage to release what you feel is the advancement this civilization has made from its Stone Age beginnings to modern technological comfort for many on this planet. Peace, MC Maestro. Do you know that the word civilization is synonymous with slavery? In order to accomplish this experience, it required giving up the freedom of personal choice in order that group organization might have precedence. Beyond the family, no organization is necessary. Personal responsibility is the keynote of freedom. Cooperation is a natural phenomenon as long as the need to control is absent. The need to control is a learned activity that becomes habitual through the experience of it. How does one transcend this habitual activity when it is deeply ingrained at a planetary level? It has now reached a point that in and of himself, man cannot break this addiction. The adversaries know this well. They are sure that humanity cannot change it. How then will it occur as the primary starting point of the shift to new paradigm of experience? It can be done by understanding that thought focused and released can indeed act within itself and upon itself. Giving you another clue, when you hear these folks repeat certain phrases, that is a key. Thought focused and released can indeed act within itself and upon itself. Ain't that right, Lance Benefield? Metaphysical Osama K. Peace. Though it sounds simplistic, and indeed in reality it is simplistic, it is a powerful tool. In order for this process to work, there are some criteria that must be present. Since it is a process of divine order, it must have at its intentional level the desire to coordinate within its perpetual process. The purpose of it must be conceived with the focus of the continued evolvement of those who will benefit from its inception through the outward movement of its sphere of influence. Let me read that again because that was a big-ass sentence. So he says that since it is a process of divine order, it must have at its intentional level, right, the intent of this process of divine order, it must have at the intentional level the desire to coordinate within this perpetual process. The purpose of it must be conceived with the focus of the continued evolvement of those who will benefit from its inception through the outward movement of its spheres of influence. The intent of its purpose is the key to its success of coordination within the flow of divine order. If this is reduced to a mathematical formula, then its inclusion cannot cause a change in any of the divine formulas that allow the balance of the whole to exist in harmony. Thought thinking within itself would know if it was acceptable or not. Does that make sense? Thought thinking within itself would know if it was acceptable or not. You listen to your own thoughts, right? You would know that. That is the reason the opposition cannot take advantage of this process. Purity of intent to harmonize as the motive is a primary prerequisite. Time out. Check your motives. You listening to this book study. Check the purity of your motive. Check the purity of your intention. Why are you here? Why are you listening to this? Why do you desire to be a part of this? Why do you care about any of this stuff? Purity of intent to harmonize as the motive is a primary prerequisite. The outlining thought must be specific only in the intent of the purpose. That's the key right there as well. The outlining thought must be specific only in the intent of the purpose. It must provide direction of purpose, allowing the thought-thinking process to proceed into divine order by releasing it in total trust, knowing it is accomplished in what you call etheric levels. See, I didn't even understand that word back when I first read this book. Look at that. I'll read that again. It must provide direction of purpose, allowing the thought-thinking process to proceed into divine order by releasing it in total trust, knowing it is accomplished in what you call the etheric levels, and will then manifest into this recognizable reality using all the available triggers for appropriate interaction. So what does this look like so far? Like, do you follow what he's saying so far? As a human mind, as an ego, we have this tendency and this desire to control as much of our lives as possible, right? We want to be in control of it. We want to see it. We want to hear it. If we can't hear it, see it, smell it, taste it, it's hard for us to believe it, to have faith in it, right? It's difficult. But if you were here for the live stream that I did on Thursday, right, and I was talking with Amar about being able to navigate through some higher levels of consciousness during meditation. It's almost as if you release the need to control and you just allow and accept that place to give you what you need in the moment, right? There's some people who sit and meditate and they try to go in a certain direction, and that's okay, that's fine. But there's levels to consciousness. And when you start to reach the higher levels, you have to accept, in order to proceed, right? You don't have to do anything. But in order to proceed, you have to accept that you cannot fathom what's past a certain level. You simply can't even make it up. You couldn't if you tried. And if you do that, in a way, that's a key that opens the door for you. Luz says you gotta learn to let it go like Frozen. Exactly. There's certain higher levels of consciousness where in order to really manipulate things on the lower levels, aka the material physical plane, you got to be able to navigate up there and be comfortable up there being an absolute newborn baby. You don't know what's going on. You don't know how it works. You don't know what direction to go, but you operate in pure faith, in pure trust. You operate in just trust. Sly says, Ein Sof R, inconceivable. I'm gonna tell you something. That level is way before Ein Sof R. In fact, that level that I'm talking about, that happens just about after the Tifereth level. That happens just about after the Tifereth, so we ain't even out of the tree yet for what I'm talking about. We ain't even out of the tree yet. WVT. Peace, my brother. WT says you got to go inward to experience the outer space that was built for you, for real. Anna Molly says, this book was a good choice. Very good. Awesome. I am glad that you're enjoying this. I wasn't sure if people would dig it because, like I said, I haven't read this in almost 10 years. I don't even, oh yeah, I do know where I got this from. Digging into some waters that were too deep even for me, and this book was a recommendation. And when I say waters that were too deep even for me at the time, it's a book series called Matrix, not the movie. It has nothing to do with the movie. It's by an author named Val Valerian, and they start off getting into like conspiracy theories with the government and UFOs and all that stuff, and it dovetails off into some super abstract conspiracy stuff. if you check it out, that's a rabbit hole that you will never find the bottom of. But it's not like the stuff that's out now, where it's all like, this is some good quality conspiracy. Anyways, let's get back to this. Amun-Ra Central says, being that it's been so long, what caused you to bring it out tonight? I wanted to give some space so that people could purchase a copy of The Cosmic Doctrine. So I needed something to read in the meantime, just to kind of keep the momentum. I was doing some cleaning in my room and I found this package. This book was still in the Amazon package. I never took it out. I actually bought it with the intentions to read it on a live stream back in 2020, I want to say, 2020, 2019, somewhere in that time frame. But for some reason, I never opened it. I just left it in the package. I got a sense that tonight was appropriate. Usually those senses that I get are very refined, so I follow them. J. Baldhale says, we're gonna blast through this over the next handful of days then? Sorry if I missed you already answering that. I don't know, I'm just kind of thinking it through. We might. I'm really kind of just winging it right now, just playing it by ear. Enchanted Cottage 333, lovely to hear from you. Glad that you are safe and sound. I hope you had fun. Or are having fun, I should say. Alright, so let's get back to this. But yeah, let me know if you guys are enjoying this read, because, I mean, we could still continue it even alongside Cosmic Doctrine. Probably like on weekdays or something like that. Okay, where am I? Yeah, okay, so it must provide, so purity of intent to harmonize as the motive is a primary prerequisite. Gerald Sombright, peace. Kev Rose, SS God, peace. Star Lion, peace. I don't know if I said peace to you already. Star Lion says, I was making a cup of coffee and something told me to tune in, and sure enough, you have this live going. Psychic forces are real. They absolutely are real. And we should all be developing them and refining them as we go. All right, let's get back to it. Peace to anybody who joins from this point forward. We have words to speak. The outlining thought must be specific only in the intent of purpose. It must provide the direction of purpose, allowing the thought-thinking process to proceed into divine order by releasing it in total trust, knowing it is accomplished in what you call etheric levels, and will then manifest into this recognizable reality using all the available triggers for appropriate interaction. Oath asks, how do you purify the intent? To purify the intent, you've got to allow it to be singular, right? When you think about purity and impurity, impurity is mixed. There's a lot of different things going on. And if anything mental is mixed, the intensity is not going to be at its highest capacity. So when it comes to the purity of intent, you want to make it as singular as possible. Singular. In other words, it can't be a bunch of different things that you're doing it for. And what that really entails is being able to know yourself deeply, shadow work. Because a lot of what we do is fueled by subconscious factors. And if they're unknown, if they're unrecognized, then the intent can't be pure. In other words, let me give you an example. There's a certain somebody who likes to give stuff, right? Now, at first, maybe to them, it seems like giving out of the kindness of their heart. But when you really zoom in and analyze, this person is only giving things away when it's no longer useful to them. In other words, if it's, Basically, if they don't need it, if it's expired, if it's out of date, if it's not really useful to them, then they give it, right? And maybe it might seem altruistic, but that's not a pure intent, because the real underlying intention is, well, I don't want to throw it away, and also I don't want it in my space anymore. Does that make sense? Let me know if that makes sense. When it comes to purity of intent, as far as giving, you literally give something because you know that someone else can benefit from it, right? And you know, I think it's pretty easy to grasp when you look at it from that angle. Slash says, wow, I never heard purity defined that way. Deep. Meditating on all my correspondences on purity now. Yeah. Okay, come on. Let's focus. How can you know that this actually will accomplish the desired results and is not just another ploy of the opposition to keep you controlled? Have you heard of this on your media reports? Is anyone within the approved world of communication touting this as the thing for you to do? Indeed not. You are programmed to focus your energies into the salvaging of your sexy bodies and in your humanitarian thoughts for the suffering multitudes, as you have another bite of your steak dinner at the restaurant, or at least another convenient hamburger on your way home from your unproductive labors at the computer keyboard. Damn, you're gonna have to throw that jab in. The process through which you receive this information does use the wonders of your computer. It is a demonstration of thought interacting with itself with the addition of focus. It is the focus of your intent that will initiate the process that you desire. It is the focus of your intent that will initiate the process that you desire. Then thought focused through purposeful intent will complete itself in magnificence through the energy of your faith and trust. Firmly holding to the knowing that the etheric form of it was completed in less than the blinking of an eye will allow it to manifest into third-dimensional reality. The computer-like processes of the creation are indeed endowed with quickness. Then again, the ball shall be returned to your court for more to be done within your dimension. Is he low-key describing how manifestation happens by utilizing the etheric plane? That's what it sounds like to me. Woodcutter Dave, good evening. Chapter 3. It is with careful and focused intent that the reality of this earthly experience is being engineered into a pattern of downward movement into the darker and heavier energies that are at the lower end of the scale in which the human body can exist. God bless America. Did you get a visual image of that? Let me read that again and visualize this. He says, it is with careful and focused intent that the reality of this earthly experience is being engineered into a pattern of downward movement into a darker and heavier energies that are at the lower end of the scale in which the human body can exist. If that's not the definition of tamasic, this makes the contact between the extension, spirit and body, and its soul-focused source more difficult, right? This makes the contact between the spirit and the soul more difficult. Listen now, because with careful engineering here, the reality that we live in on this 3D world, this culture that we find ourselves in, the vibration is getting lower and slower, denser and heavier, to the point that spirit, the distance now, for some folks, right? For some, and you can see it, you can witness it, the distance between spirit and soul is starting to get real vast. This is not the whole of the intent. This allows for the possibility of separation of the two energies. So check out what he's saying here. The creating this, allowing this material plane to become more and more dense, right? Leading the collective into making this reality more and more dense. It is causing spirit and soul to have a separation of contact. Yes, that's happening. However, that's not the point. That's not the full picture, right? That is allowing for the possibility of the separation of the two energies. That's only the beginning, right? Before what can really go down is going to go down, spirit and soul has to get more and more distanced from each other. He says intricate manipulations of this extension energy must be accomplished in order for this to be a possibility. The capture of this soul energy is for the purpose of causing a break in the chain of energies that extend from the matrix of the soul. It is the belief of those doing this that it will cause a breaking down of the positive energies that comprise the basic building blocks of creation. In other words, they perceive that causing a break in the return flow of this energy back to its source will cause a disruption in the larger combined pattern of the galactic matrix. Man, within 9 pages, we done tapped into the galactic matrix. Here we go. Here we go. The conception of this group of separatists is that a chain reaction will happen, allowing for chaos to such a degree that their focus can reorganize this chaos into their own matrix. Order out of chaos. Okay. This is quite an arrogant and ambitious undertaking. The plan includes many more quite fantastic steps to follow through to its completion. This is not a plan conceived on a moment's notice. It is one that has been put together over eons of time in your counting. However, since their plans are counter to the controlling parameters within which creation has come into manifested experience, they are unable to take advantage of the processes that also act as fail-safe guards available to the creation for the purpose of preventing this planned procedure from causing such an event. MC Maestro. The Trav code, the galactic matrix. Oh my god, even when it's cold, that coffee is powerful. Look, you gotta try this Fruity Pebbles unicorn coffee at least once in your life. This is quite possibly the best coffee I've ever tasted. And I've tasted a lot of coffee. For sure. For sure. I ain't no addict. Crazy. Pop a perk. No, personally, I don't do that. All right, this is not a plan conceived on a moment's notice. It is one that has been put together over eons of your time in your counting. However, since their plans are counter to the control... Oh, I already read that part. All right, so cool. Your logical question is, how has this rebellion been allowed to continue to this point? The free will aspect is what has been exploited as the basis for their ability to manipulate humanity to be the vehicle of their power. Interesting. I feel like there's more wisdom in that upon second glance. Let me read that again. The free will aspect is what has been exploited as the basis for their ability to manipulate humanity to be the vehicle of their power. Yours is the exact state of consciousness to serve their purpose. You are malleable enough to be influenced into desiring change when pressure is applied to the soul extension connection. And change is exactly what they want. At each critical juncture in the previous cycles, mankind has been influenced to change what was present rather than to desire an entirely new experience. Within the cycles of energy that maintain manifested creation at the various dimensions, there are critical points which allow for changing the vibratory parameters of these dimensions. There is within this opportunity ways that they have worked out to create a downward spiral into heavier energy, rather than the lifting of vibration as was intended. This can only happen when the mass consciousness of that vibratory level of planetary experience has its focus on experiences at the lowest level of that dimension. Let me go back and read that one again. There is within this opportunity ways that they have worked out to create a downward spiral into heavier energy, rather than the lifting of vibration as was intended. This can only happen when the mass consciousness of that vibratory level of planetary experience has its focus on experiences at the lowest level of that dimension. Again, isn't that what we're facing now? Right? We are facing right now the mass of consciousness of this particular vibratory level of the planetary experience. The mass of consciousness has its focus on the lowest experiences possible. If you scroll through social media, or if you go out of your house and talk to people, what are some of the main topics on everybody's mind? There's only like 3 things that people want to do. There's only 3 things, and I mean only 3 things. Not that these 3 things are terrible, but literally it's as if this is all people live for, are these 3 things. Nothing more. Metaphysical Osama K says work, food, sleep. I think you're missing the number 1. You skipped out on the very first one. Y'all acting like y'all exempt from it. That's funny. Y'all acting like y'all exempt. That is funny. We confused now. We don't know. Oh, we don't know. That's all good. That's all good. I'd have done it too. I don't know, Trav. I'm vibrating too high. I love you. I love you. Let's continue. So again, this can only happen when the mass consciousness of that vibratory level of planetary experience has its focus on experiences at the lowest level of that dimension. As we approach another of these opportunities, you can observe where the mass consciousness is with regard to what you call ethics and character. By considering what? By considering the role models that are currently popular. Damn. By considering the role models that are currently popular. Look at some of the role models we have today, especially compared to the role models that we had 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30, 40, 50 years ago. I like that. Yeah, we might have to continue this book because I have a feeling it's going to go like all the way into outer space. That man said galactic. I have a feeling that this book is going to go all the way out of space. Will the Skills asks, what is mass consciousness? It's the general collective. It's the general public collective, right? Of course, you're special. I'm special. The people in this chat are special. But like in general, when you think about humanity, like what the mainstream is, what everybody's focused on right now, that's the mass consciousness. Like if you were to take the collective humanity and like condense it into like a singular archetype, that's what that is. Chief Keef says a hive mind. I say the hive mind. Luz says, I had to buy this book just now. It's too good. Thanks for sharing another gem. Hey, it's my job. Just doing my job. Let's continue. Jay Baldhill says, shit, you can't open social media this past year without seeing Taylor Swift. And All right, let's keep it going. However, there is a risk for them in their process. Yeah, that's what I want to hear. Spill the tea, let's hear it. There is a point at which their restrictive pressure of controlling the thought processes of the mass consciousness of the planet can backfire and cause exactly the opposite of what they have planned. Yes. This will cause them to miss the opportunity of the final dimensional vibratory change needed for completion of their plans, which would explain why it's so advantageous to keep us all distracted. They have been successful in their use of various techniques, enabling them to greatly weaken the soul-human extension connection. Because of technology and greater understanding of the nature of human experience, techniques have been developed that indicate success in the process of separating extension and soul. There is considerable overconfidence in the success of these techniques used on individuals as being applicable to large groups of a critical percentage of the mass consciousness. Brother, can you break these sentences in half? There is considerable overconfidence in the success of the techniques used on individuals as being applicable to large groups of a critical percentage of the mass consciousness. The results of these experimental successes have them quite intoxicated and already savoring the completion of their divergent goals. However, it is possible to reverse those procedures and reunite the energies into wholeness again, though the complete healing of these beings that have been used as guinea pigs will require much help. Let me read that again, which is why I really try my best to not make fun of or be too hard, because this whole process that's happening that we're talking about, the lowering of the vibration, it's hurting people, man. It's traumatizing people on a strange level. He said here, however, it is possible, wait, let me go back. The results of these experimental successes have them quite intoxicated and already savoring the completion of their divergent goals. However, it is possible to reverse those procedures and reunite the energies into wholeness again. That's good. Though the complete healing of these beings that have been used as guinea pigs will require much help. Aww. The grace of the Creator shall be showered upon those individuals to assure the soul matrix is not distorted. MC Maestro says the author definitely had their fez on when writing this, right? This guy is not a beginner or a pretender. I usually choose some pretty decent authors, or the force that works with me brings me authors that are very on the level. The implications of this picture are many, but do not despair, for in the knowledge of this, you can plainly see that you are not alone in the healing of this situation. You are not alone in the healing of this situation. It is just that free will is at the essence of how you got yourselves into this situation, and it will be the use of free will that you will desire to finally do something drastic enough that will get you through it. You have used change to get you out before, and it only altered the situation. You did not resolve it completely. In this case, the scenario is such that it is literally do or die, to borrow your vernacular. Within the proper choice of focus lies your salvation. Smile, you are on the winning side. Interesting here. The fact that he keeps referring to our vernacular and our timeline indicates to me that I believe this fellow was actually channeling, because human ego people don't write like that. Smile, you're on the winning side. This is good. This is good. Hey, look, remember what was said in chapter 1, because I think that was extremely powerful. As you're listening to these words and you're allowing your mind to expand, please, if the mood strikes you, grab something to write with and a piece of paper, and maybe take note of some of the new ideas that might come to you, right? Because you probably don't want to lose those with them being new and of a specific frequency. Before you go back into your everyday lives of the regular world, make sure that you capture some of these ideas that are floating around. Richard Tracy says, I missed chapter 1. Can you give a quick recap of what you're referencing? Essentially, there are powers that be. And in recognizing that the powers that be have an intention to steer the world into a very destructive, low vibrational state, there is a certain study of humanity, of the mind, and of the animal body that allows for humans to be extremely predictable. Everything is mapped out. We know that, right? With NLP and many other things. In other words, whatever you think you're going to do about standing up to the Illuminati or fighting your archons or going to war against the Masons or whatever people talk about, that's immediately going to be the wrong answer. Because anything that can be jumped to as far as like an emotional immediate answer, there's already a solution for that. Like there's already a contingency plan. So in order to really overcome the impending doom, it's not a spirit of rebellion and resistance that must be invoked. It's a spirit of extreme creativity. We're talking a quantum leap. In other words, instead of playing the game of fighting back and forth, we're playing a game of creating an entirely new map, an entirely new system, right? Thinking outside the box, for real, for real. And to be honest, like that first chapter inspired me heavily when I first read this. So yeah, that was a quick recap on what I found important about chapter 1. J. Baldhale says, yeah, on Amazon, the author is Benevolent Beings. Oh, Anamali says, also, nothing old will work. Gonna have to be new. Yeah, that's another big one. It's not gonna be a borrowed solution that has happened in the past. It's gonna have to be something completely new. MC Maestro says some of that going down is actually for build-up pressure that helps the masses who cannot help themselves. Absolutely. All right, let's keep going. Let's keep going because I want to get into as much of this as we can with the time that we have. And it's going pretty quick, actually. It's only been maybe an hour and some change. Chapter 4. As each of you come to understand, this is the pivotal time in which to complete a spiritual journey involving multiple trips through the earthly experience. It will become obvious there is not a moment to be wasted in the final hours of this episode. Tom Mail says, do you think that includes working with the elements and Kabbalah? So in regards to that, I believe that there are levels, like I said. And in order for one to move from one level to another, there's prerequisite activity and prerequisite learning. So higher levels can be reached, but in order to maintain and stay at higher levels, there has to be certain things that you've already done, right? How can I put this? So in other words, to come out of like NPC level type stuff and to stay in a person who is utilizing magic efficiently, consistently, there are certain rituals that have to be done so that the energies within you are organized in such a way that you don't fall backwards. Trying to make sure that I'm saying this correctly. So yeah, working with Kabbalah and working with the elementals and things like that, they start to reorganize and restructure your etheric field, right? And what that does is it helps you to be able to maintain work on higher planes. Because see, look, imagine a regular basic ass person who doesn't know much of anything. Sure, anybody can tap into higher levels. Anybody can have a Kundalini experience. Anybody can do the lesser banishing ritual, etc., etc. Anybody can do that, but everybody can't stay up there. In order to stay up there, you have to have done certain work that have arranged your aura so that you can, you know, the same way that you have to train holding your breath in order to stay underwater longer, or train doing anything in order to endure. It's just the same thing spiritually. You got to train your awareness so that you can endure with higher planes. So yes, there's a place for going through Kabbalistic things and you know, different meditations and etc., etc. All that stuff is designed to refine your spiritual makeup. Let me know if that makes sense. And that's the thing, like, most of you who are consistent on my channel, like, even if you are just watching my videos and listening, like, you're still building up that, what's the word? That endurance. You're still building up that endurance. But those of you who are really putting in work outside of these live streams, absolutely you're building up that endurance. Luz says that's what your inner light activation course was about. Absolutely. Absolutely. I knew that was you, by the way. Let's keep going. All right, so as each of you, how far am I down? Yeah, as each of you can come to understand, this is the pivotal time in which to complete a spiritual journey involving multiple trips through the earthly experience, it will become obvious there is not a moment to be wasted in the final hours of this episode. If you are to accomplish this goal and end this chapter of the history of planetary experience, those who have chosen to mock the Creator's plan must not write it. This is a time in which you cannot leave this change in the hands of others. It is too great a responsibility to be left to a few. You must make your contribution in order to be assured that it shall be accomplished and that you shall be included in the multitude that make this a reality. Interesting to think that we all share this. Man, it's getting spooky, huh? This music is dramatic as hell with this subject matter and that paragraph. I'm feeling like it's the end of the world. But look, man, we are all involved in this thing. We are all contributing, even if we choose to pretend like it's not happening. If not us, then who? There ain't no Superman, ain't no Batman, ain't no Luke Skywalker out there. It's you, homie. It's you, sister. Let's keep going. To accomplish this, first you must open your eyes and see what is happening all around you. You must then come to the unpleasant understanding that you have allowed this to occur because overwhelming methodology of deception influenced you, and you resisted becoming involved through taking any personal responsibility in changing it. That makes me think about maybe in past incarnations, you probably chose, I could see myself choosing to stay out of this, saying not my monkeys, not my circus, and then having to reincarnate into the consequences of my decision. I can see that. You ain't want to do it when you had the wings. Now do it when you have this funky animal body. Careful remembering of past intuitive feelings brings you to the truth. You are now and have been aware that something sinister is present. In all honesty, you lack the courage to look at what it might be because of the implications of what it could involve personally. Yeah. Society ejects. Peace, brother. Courage to do this has come through the change of your attitude. The magnitude of the implication of what the planners of this situation are capable of doing to your personal future and that of family and friends has allowed your desire to know to overwhelm your reluctance. This then leads to the necessity of considering its larger implication, the planet and its inhabitants as a whole. This process has brought you to the point of looking directly into the face of the truth. Unfortunately, it is not some religious or esoteric concept that is the truth that will set you free, but what it has been your desire to avoid at all cost. What you must understand is that this truth is about a situation that could end your earthly experience in extremely unpleasant circumstances and places your external existence in jeopardy. The stakes are extremely high, and the circumstances are dire indeed. This is not the time to hide in your usual excuse of, what can one person do? A large number of one persons can accomplish a great deal. Becoming cannon fodder is not the solution. It is required that you become a much more subtle influence. Now you're speaking my language. Learn one truth now. Subtle energy is powerful, and the most powerful energy is subtle. Right foot creep, right? Not guns ablazing, Rambo die hard. Right foot creep. That's how I get down. The devil under your feet, you're on your way to see him. Stay focused now. Subtle energy is powerful, and the most powerful energy is subtle. Remember that. Remember that. Your Bible says, in the beginning was the Word, but words are thoughts spoken out loud. An inaccurate translation. In the beginning was thought. That is the subtle energy that we are asking you to employ. Okay, see, look, you can work with that. That is the subtle energy that we are asking you to employ. Simply change the focus of your thought. Do not allow yourself to dwell upon the horrors of what is planned for you, but turn your thought into what it is that you would prefer to experience. Powerful, beautiful, yes. Listen, raise your hand. How many folks here remember when you were caught up in the whole conspiracy theory phase, the Illuminati phase, oh, they're building concentration camps phase, oh, China's gonna invade us? Like, how many of y'all remember being in that phase of, look, y'all, it's coming, we gotta prepare, we gotta fight back, y'all, it's happening? Remember that phase? I think I had that phase back in 2008. Ain't shit go down yet. But notice, like, how are you? What's happening in your mind, in your body, in your emotions when all that you're thinking about is this threat that's coming to your doorstep, right? How many of you remember that phase when all you can think about is, oh, the reptilians, they're gonna do this to us, or the government is gonna do this, it's gonna happen any day now. Look at that. Like, if nothing else, you're keeping yourself in a horrible state of existence. But spiritually speaking, you're sending all that thought energy, right? You're sending all Your the power that you have to do anything, look at where you're sending it. And with that being said, let me go back and read this again. He says, it is required that you become a much more subtle influence. Learn one truth now. Subtle energy is subtle energy is powerful, and the most powerful energy is subtle. Your Bible says, in the beginning was the Word, but words are thoughts spoken out loud, an inaccurate translation. In the beginning was thought. That is the subtle energy that we are asking you to employ. Simply change the focus of your thought. Do not allow yourself to dwell upon the horrors of what is planned for you, but turn your thought into what it is that you would prefer to experience. Boom. 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 Yeah, Lou says that rabbit hole led me here eventually. Rorockin says I needed that phase or I wouldn't have gotten this far. Yeah, and that's all true. That is exactly true. And what I'm saying is analyze how your mind was operating while you were in that state. And what did you actually build for yourself other than anxiety and a weakening of your nervous system? When that same type of energy can be spent building what you'd rather have instead. They're building FEMA camps. Remember, they've been talking about that for a very long time. Gerald Sombright says, I remember going through that phase in high school. I would sit and watch those conspiracy videos with friends. Right. I was an expert. I knew the same way that I'm studying this material here, I knew all the conspiracy theories. It didn't amount to a hill of beans. Jay Baldhale says, it's encoded into our DNA. The great conspiracy, the enemy is anywhere but in the mirror. Chief Keef says, what starseed playing you rip? Right? They got folks in the tesseract of confusion. I like that. Let's keep going. The tesseract of confusion. Turn your thought to what it is that you would prefer to experience. You are trained by their methodology to think only about the programmed thoughts of acquiring things, others' opinions, self-preservation among thieves and murderers, and escape from self-directed thoughts through addiction to TV, movies, and soul-jarring music. I don't think we have anything but soul-jarring music coming out now. Curve 999, peace. The Illuminachos. I never heard that one. Last but not least, pursuit of sexual experience, be it in or out of monogamous relationships. Well, let me go back to add that into context. You are trained by their methodology to think only about the programmed thoughts of acquiring things, right? Everybody wants to get to the bag, right? I gotta get the money, gotta get the bag. We're trained in their methodology to think only about the programmed thoughts of acquiring things, about others' opinions, about self-preservation among thieves and murderers, right? And escape from self-directed thoughts through addiction to TV, movies, and soul-jarring music. Last but not least, pursuit of sexual experience, be it in or out of monogamous relationships. There is also the mind-boggling profusion of religious entities to further lead you from the personal quest of understanding the connection to the source of your presence on this planet in the first place. I can assure you that Jesus, Buddha, and Muhammad had nothing to do with it. It is not that these beings did not exist, nor that they were not here to attempt to give you guidance in getting through this dilemma, but the messages they brought were distorted long ago. We don't want to hear that. Cringy cringe. That's funny. All right, let's keep going. Yeah, so the messages brought about were distorted long ago. Neither did they come out here to get you out. Dang. So you mean Jesus and Muhammad didn't come here to get us out? I was lied to. They didn't come here to get you out by your belief in their existence, past or present. They came to teach you that you must get yourself through this by taking personal responsibility and creating through thought a new planetary experience. In this way only will you be able to move through this painful experience. You accept this responsibility by making a personal commitment between you and the creative energy that focused you through thought into this existence. Think about that sentence real quick. Whatever you're thinking about, pause that and think about this. I'm going to read it one more time. You accept this responsibility by making a personal commitment between you and the creative energy that focused you through thought into this experience, into this existence. Okay, come back. You will know how to participate in creating what will replace this living nightmare with a new experience. How? You search for it through your desire to know and to participate in its creation. Then, through seemingly miraculous coincidence, how to participate shall become known to you. The critical point of the process is in making the commitment within your own awareness that the most important thing is participating in the creation of an experience that is 180 degrees opposite what is now planned to be your final earthly sojourn. The evidence of the necessity to do this surrounds you in irrefutable profusion. You need only to open your eyes, consider the changes in your personal freedoms that are happening in quick succession, and listen to the researched evidence in both spoken and written presentations on your radios, internet, and in books. So look what he says now. Look what he says now. The critical point of this process is in making the commitment within your own awareness. Listen. Right? Within your own awareness that the most important thing is participating in the creation of an experience that is 180 degrees opposite what is now planned to be your final earthly sojourn. Can you imagine a life that you would rather have without the limits of what is currently operating? Without the limits of what's currently operating. Okay, just in case, like I said, I'm not trying to keep this book a secret. I just, yeah, the book title's been at the top. It's called Handbook for the New Paradigm. Handbook for the New Paradigm. Oh, the incense is out. I better light another stick. I'll do that after this chapter's over with. Raltz says, bro just revealed how to escape the Matrix. How to fix the Matrix, rather. The evidence, right? All right, now he talked about creation of a new experience, right? Now look what he follows it up with. The evidence of the necessity to do this surrounds you in irrefutable profusion, right? All you need to do is look around and see why it's necessary that we need to do this. You need only to open your eyes, consider the changes in your personal freedoms that are happening in quick succession, right? Are not these personal freedoms of ours constantly, people are constantly vying to change them and shift them and doing everything they can to try to change these laws? It says, listen to and hear the researched evidence in both the spoken and written presentations on your radios, internet, and in books. Very soon, those will no longer be available to you, leaving only word of mouth. I think we're there now with this internet stuff, right? Leaving only word of mouth, or I should say social media. So it is imperative that you respond to this information. You are encouraged to react only through your change of attitude and in your commitment to become a part of this subtly powerful movement. There will not be an Armageddon as suggested in their version of your Bible. It shall be a replacement of their planned world through shifting the focus of the awareness of the beings on this planet toward that which is desired, rather than that which is being forced upon them. It shall be individual interchange that shall conquer the outer forces that plan to control your very essence of self-awareness. Upon the acceptance of this clarion call lies the future of your survival and the experiences that wait for you within eternity. So the so-called fighting back is adjusting your focus so that you can create a better version of reality instead of accepting what's being given to us. And would you believe, right? So understand that, right? That's a simple thing to understand. Creating the reality that you want instead of accepting what's coming or what's presented. But would you imagine how difficult it is, right? If you were to say that to other folks and really be able to have them understand that, not go over their head, but to speak it in the language that they understand, many people would still choose to just accept what's being presented to them. So again, this ain't for everybody. And in the words of Bobby Hemmett, it doesn't even require everybody. It doesn't require everybody to be on the level. Just a select few. A select few can do a lot more efficient work than what Bobby Hemmett calls the masses of asses. In fact, it's only a select few that is adjusting the reality that is currently being adjusted. Oh, that's nice, MC Maestro. MC Maestro says, set up your 4 elements and walk. Pick up your cross and walk. Raltz says, my mentor Arash says a focused 20 minutes is miles better than an unfocused 90 minutes, as comparing to what you just said. Ro Rockin says, your message in the past few weeks is heavily connected to this book. That's awesome, because my eyes haven't even laid upon this book in about a decade now. I think it kind of was just waiting in my garage, and it started to call out to me, saying, now is the time Chapter 5. Let's get it. Indeed, this is a glorious day. The rain falls and the air is clean. Rain is falling generously on the planet, and Mother Earth begins the washing of herself in earnest. Is it being engineered? It would appear so. But are there contemptuous machines all that powerful? Do not be so sure. Remember that Earth is a projection of thought, and thought is self-aware. It's self-aware and interacts within itself to greater or lesser degrees. Would Earth think to greater or lesser a degree? That is a question to contemplate. This is a moment in which to be aware of the changing of the guard. It seems that the destiny of the planet has been wrestled from the control of its inhabitants. As it would appear, the control of the Republic of the USA has been taken from its people. Movement within the conscious awareness of the inhabitants present has begun. Movement within the conscious awareness of the inhabitants present has begun. These levels of consciousness are subtle and they are powerful. Notice of this change in consciousness is not at a vibratory level that will alert the negative forces. Its momentum builds within the subtle, powerful planes of energy forces that hold this planet in focus. It is thought interacting within itself. There's that phrase again. It is acting in concert as a changing perception of the mass consciousness that is similar to a natural shedding process. Like the snake, there is an itchiness that is being felt. How many people are feeling time is speeding up? And I don't mean just like, oh, it's a little bit faster, but it's getting a little bit ridiculous and super obvious now. Is it just me? Or is time just like purely disrespectful in its speed lately? Let me know if you're feeling that too. I mean, yeah, we felt it before, oh, time's speeding up, but it's undeniably speeding up now. Like, I don't know if you can deny it. And every now and then somebody's like, oh, well, as you get older, it seems like time's moving faster because when you were a kid, I don't think that's the case. I think it's legit moving faster and faster. I don't think it's a trance state. I think it's something much, I think something's actually changing. Yeah, Ralt says it's Saturday. And I remember doing the previous live stream just a few days ago. It's already Saturday again. Jesus. I mean, hell, it's about to be Sunday. Let's keep going. So yeah, like the snake, there is an itchiness that is being felt. That's why I said that. Like I think that's part of this itchiness. Like that's one of the things that everybody feels, but everybody's not talking about it. But like as soon as you mention something like that, everybody's like, yeah, I agree too. This process allows for a time of vulnerability and danger from enemies, for it is an internal process. The snake indeed goes within an available den, because during this internal process it becomes partially blind. Literally blind. Legally blind. All focus is within itself as the process goes through its formation of a new outside experience, for it has outgrown its ability to continue as it is. Even the covering of the eyes is changed so that it sees its world anew. Only the death of the snake can prevent this cyclical occurrence. Thus, it takes great care during this process. This is an apt analogy for our consideration of the progress of mankind through what appears to be a dilemma of great proportion. Just as the fetus grows too large for the womb and must give up its current experience and adventure into a completely new environment, there are guiding examples throughout nature to suggest that this process is a natural phase of manifested life experience. The separation of man from nature through the herding of them into metropolitan areas is not an accident. It has been used many times to suppress individual power to control the experience of life. Closely compacted form is more easily pushed to and fro in the effort of moving individuals into experiences that are contrary to their natural desires toward individual responsibility and choosing their life experience. Man, this herding smothers the natural desires and opens the psyche to influence by the confusion that is drawn within the totality of the being. There is a fundamental call within each for balance. The lack of ability to choose experiences freely causes a distortion of energy pattern that brings intuitional discomfort and searching to change that feeling. This need is then led into unending streams of unfulfilling pursuits by those who would change the destiny of this planetary experience. Dang. Let me go back just a little bit. I want to read that again. So we talked about the separation of man from nature. It's not an accident, right? Into metropolitan life, into cities. Closely compacted form is easily pushed to and fro. And it's done in an effort to move us into experiences which are contrary to our natural desire towards individual responsibility. And this herding smothers the natural desires and opens the psyche to influence by the confusion that is drawn within the totality of being. There's a fundamental call within each for balance. The lack of ability to choose experiences freely causes a distortion of energy pattern that brings intuitional discomfort and searching to change that feeling. Okay? This need is then led into unending streams of unfulfilling pursuits by those who would change the destiny of this planetary experience. However, there are ingrained patterns of experience that are reminiscent of the skin shedding process that cannot be distorted. The negative forces have their time schedule that must be met. The timing of this process of human skin changing is not one that they are privy to know, no matter how they analyze and reanalyze the human experience from their perspective. Can you now realize that thought thinking within itself has created fail-safe checks that prevent destruction if at all possible? Yes. Again, we are faced with that one element that can put on hold even the fail-safe checks and balances. And what is that? Free will. Each has personal responsibility for the use of this great gift of the Creator. He has confidence that fragments of himself may enjoy taking themselves to the edge of extinction for the fun of the adventure. But just as in your action movies, a depiction of this underlying adventurous focus, through perfect timing, the hero moves through the scenario with hardly a scratch, or at least nothing that cannot be healed. Sometimes you miss the point of the movies. You are now at the critical place in the script. It is time to write in the shift of momentum from the bad guy to the hero, so that he can experience that unexpected twist of the storyline that allows for his harrowing escape, leaving the bad guys holding the bag. Let us hope that this is not a Superman or secret agent adventure in which, again, there is no end to the bad guy, and another adventure between them is waiting in the wings. You have already experienced those scripts. Again, you have missed the point of the movies. Do you feel that sense of satisfaction of evil vanquished when you leave that genre of movie? That is the point of it. To always leave you with the idea that evil remains no matter what you do. Were not your experiences in Korea, Vietnam, and Desert Storm outward depictions of this same frustrating movie? All wars have this same result. It has just not been part of the plan until recently to flaunt it so plainly for you to see. Your ability to discern and react is being tested over and over. Man. I want to say this just in case you missed it. Yeah, this is a movie, but it doesn't have to be the kind of movie that requires multiple sequels because the bad guy keeps coming back. It doesn't have to be that way. Why else would items of what is being sanctioned or withheld from innocent people in Iraq be published in your newspapers? What did these items for personal use of individual innocent people have to do with the prevention of war preparations? These lists were published worldwide. How do you think the people who uphold their degenerate president who is instigating this are thought of by the rest of the world? The Empire. A new movie genre is being released now. In these, your people are being held accountable. These depict surges of justifiable retribution, terrorism. Damn. These movies depict surges of justifiable retribution, terrorism, and are being planted in the minds of those other countries. Their ideal of America as the light of the world is being destroyed by your diplomacy of arrogance toward other countries' right of self-determination. These punishments are seen as appropriate by them, for they are unable to resist on a larger scale to this injustice. The disturbances used as excuses to interfere within the borders of other countries are made to appear that there is necessity to intervene for the good of the citizens. These contrived situations are a hoax created by subversive groups like the CIA. The resultant aftermath of your American intervention is hardly what you are told it is. Guilt, because for being used as a tool, will not serve to end this charade. Do not waste your time on it. Resolve to be a part of the solution in order that this error in perception may be rectified. The wake-up call is being sounded, and the internal intuitional agitation to shed the skin of this deceptive controlled experience has begun in earnest. The time of choosing to move with the flow of creation or to remain stuck within the hoax is upon all of humanity. Education, as it is known, is not an advantage. It is within each self-awareness that this process will take place. All are equal in opportunity in this process. Believe that. Purity of response outweighs educational degrees. Those who know the least of what is going on will hear first. You have been educated into the deception that provides the grease upon the wheels of their plans. Let me highlight that. The time of choosing to move with the flow of creation or to remain stuck within the hoax is upon all of humanity. You've been educated into the deception that provides the grease upon their wheels of their plans. You have been fooled into supporting them as they carried forth their plans that so far have been focused upon the uneducated and those unable to oppose the power you are giving the manifested evil ones through consent by believing their lies. Peace, MC Maestro. Patchwork says, why is it whenever Travis goes live, I end up buying 2 or 3 books? Man. Jay Baldale says it was first published in 1999. Okay. 1999. Ro Rockin says this book is hidden every angle. God damn, right? Lisa says, I love how you explain things so understandable and have the time to engage with your audience. You're amazing. Just had to say that. Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate that. Real, as the young folks say. Let's keep going. Chapter 6. In the reality that surrounds your awareness and third dimensional experience, it is easier to allow the seduction of your 5 senses into believing this is all there is to the duration of your stay within your body. Indeed, this has been further enhanced by the introduction of the visual aids of photos, movies, TV, and computers. Whoa, this was written in 1999. That's funny because I was just thinking about the terrorism thing he said, and I looked at my Amazon cart to see when I bought this, and I bought this on September 11th. September 11th, 2020. Yep. And I never opened it out the package. Well, like I said, I did read it before in like 2015, I want to say. Let's keep going. So yeah, in the reality that surrounds your awareness and third dimensional experience, it is easier to allow the seduction of your 5 senses into believing this is all there is to the duration of your stay within your body. Indeed, this has been further enhanced by the introduction of the visual aids of photos, movies, TV, and computers. To this, add telegraph, telephones, satellites, plus music and sporting events, all beginning in childhood at the earliest possible moment, right? Where is there within this onslaught of mind-boggling confusion of distractions, where is there time or desire to contemplate within silence anything but a replay of these experiences? Dang. The conscious awareness tries to clear out the clutter of this overload so that contact can be made with an inner awareness, and contemplation can begin of how and why you are within this experience. Patchwork, thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. Yeah, so look at that. We're introduced with the electronic devices as early as possible, right? When I was a kid, it was, Nintendo and Super Nintendo, and of course TV. Nowadays, I mean, sheesh. I got my son a tablet and a Switch and a laptop. If the battery dies on one, he just jumps to the other. As most all other kids have that experience. The conscious awareness tries to clear out the clutter of this overload so that contact can be made with an inner awareness, and contemplation can begin of how and why you are within this experience. Dang. This is a process that goes on quite naturally, except when the conscious half of this combination is overloaded with stimuli. It should be immediately apparent to the reader that this is the case in modern North American European parts of the world. Furthermore, it is spreading to the more affluent elements around the planet. Once exposed to this mind-stifling process, it appears to be relaxing. It is not relaxing, it is mind-suppressing. The creative, self-contemplating portions of the awareness are being shut down. The more the experience is repeated, the more of an addiction is acquired. Instead of enjoying mentally stimulating experiences, these are experienced as disquieting and downright irritating, right? Try to take them tablets and them video games away, right? When it should be peaceful and relaxing, what is it instead? Disquieting and downright irritating. Thus you see the joggers with their wired up ears listening rather than contemplating their own thoughts. Somehow they must stay connected to their addiction to distraction. If not radios or tapes, then it is car phones to stay connected so one can pontificate with their friends. Can you, reading this, separate yourself from the distraction process to contemplate and absorb descriptions of the wondrous fantasy land existence you are experiencing? Can you? Where is what you call reality within a world that is mostly pretend? When you look in truth at the information you trade daily through your computer connections, how much of it is indeed concrete manifested reality? Ooh. Think about that now. If you're listening to this, think about that. Let me read that again so you can listen to it again. When you look in truth at the information you trade daily through your computer connections, how much of it is indeed concrete manifested reality? Is the money transferred from one account to another? Is the money transferred from one account to another actually stacks of bills? Do that many stacks of denominations of money actually exist? Where are there bank safes to house trillions of dollars? Wake up. You are dreaming. But if you wake up, you'll have to face the solid reality that you have been used, and that is too frightening to contemplate. How long do you think this dream bubble can go on expanding before it breaks of its own thinness? Or just perhaps there are ones that will enjoy pricking the bubble. Would it not be best to wake up early and begin to dream a new ending to the nightmare in disguise that you are now experiencing? Can you do that? Of course you can. It is your dream. Of course you can. It is your dream that you have been programmed to dream. A particular scenario can only continue as long as you allow it. There is something called lucid dreaming, in which you awaken to an awareness that you are dreaming. Then you can stop at that degree of consciousness, observe yourself dreaming, and change the scenario of the dream. If you are being chased, create a safe hiding place. Have the pursuer fall into a hole, or a train come between you and you escape. You have been lulled into a dream state by the distraction of your conscious awareness in order to separate you from your self-aware state, which is the state in which you can observe your dream process. You can correlate this into an awareness that will allow you to reclaim the severed connection to both parts of your total awareness. In truth, your intuitive awareness is beginning now to become awake to the truth of this information. Do you know that you have the power within yourself to encourage this feeling and come out of the unnatural state of distraction into full awareness? This waking process can allow you to avoid the fear and panic that you think facing it might bring, and instead give you an ability to discover yourself as a focus of energetic and creative expression. It will not awaken the brute caveman reaction you might expect. Instead, a contemplative ability to focus upon solutions will come forth that will replace what was formerly sensed as an undefeatable force and an unsolvable situation. This force was smothering you in a deepening dream reality that you will discover does not even exist. It may appear so that to the five senses, but you perceive that beyond those lies a potential that supersedes what you have known before. It is the same potential that pulls entrepreneurs into successful businesses and explorers towards unknown places. It has an enticing intuitional call that pulls them from the unknown to the known. That pulls them from the known to desire an experience that is unknown and holds such a vibration of potential of success that it cannot be resisted. Many hear the call, but few choose to answer it. That does not mean that it does not exist. The success stories are proof enough of its existence. It is hoped that this information for you to contemplate apart from your normal mesmerizing existence. Is there something beyond this enticingly humdrum existence that could be even more rewarding? Indeed there is. You might have to be more specific on which third eye area we're talking about. Some of these folks ain't used to the spiritual stuff. Roll rock, and you have a good evening. Peace. Third. Why the third one? We just went right on past the second one, J Bald Hell. Let's continue. Chapter 7. How we doing? Y'all still awake? Are y'all still absorbing this information? Are we still tuned in and tapped in? Did you drink your water? Do you have your passport? Did you get your shots? Would you like to come back with Rob to America? All right. Stand up and get my stretch on real quick. All right. What to eat? That's a good question. I'll figure that out later. Might even fast, who knows? Do you have your passport? Did you get your shots? Girl, would you like to come back with Rob to America. Curve 999 says Rob and Diddy. Rob and Diddy together at last. All right, let's continue. Shiggity. To America. All right, Around the World in 80 Days was a marvelously funny satire on good and evil in competition. Don't we wish that the same scenario in one's own reality could be as carefree and funny with all the pitfalls and hair-raising, potentially dangerous scenes? You can rest assured that the observers of the play upon the stage of planet Earth are not laughing at the similar scenes as they pass through your manifested reality. Instead, they watch through detached wisdom, knowing that the ending will be a positive one, but with concern for how many awareness points shall move with the ascending transformation process, and how many will be left behind to be shepherded through the process of another opportunity. It shall be a great relief to these when the Earth experience and this particular point of focus will have been completed. Just how it shall all come together has become of major interest. For indeed, you have created your own grand and spectacular stage play. The storyline is quite unique, something like the perils of Pauline of the Galaxy. It is noted that the terms of universe and galaxy are tossed about with abandon, and you find yourself puzzled in attempting to correlate these into a meaningful third-dimensional understanding. In truth, this is not quite possible, but we shall make an attempt at doing so. Yeah, see, I was waiting for him to get to the universe galaxy stuff. To America. Galaxy refers to the flow of manifested reality around a center of focus. Universe refers to the focused intent of coagulation of energy that, in your terminology, lies behind and supports this manifested reality. Uh-oh, I wonder if we can translate that into Kabbalistic terminology. Because I remember in one of these Kabbalah books, somebody described a sort of backdrop that everything was painted on top of. So galaxy refers to the flow of manifested reality around a center of focus. I wonder if that could translate to Kether. He says universe refers to the focused intent of coagulation of energy that in your terminology lies behind and supports this manifested reality. Like, that sounds like some ein so fine so far. There are universal laws that allow for the creation and maintenance of this galaxy. Since you are part of this galaxy, you have named the Milky Way, then if you are to experience in harmony within it, you must live within these laws. In this case, you are like children playing pin the tail on the donkey, for these laws have been withheld from you, and you are left to discover them by trial and error. Right now, you are far into the error process. Damn. Is this how it has been ordained for you to learn them? Indeed not. The blindfold has been deliberately placed upon you, and you have been fooled into thinking that you have no right to remove it. The blindfold is the game of deception in which you are enticed to look where the magician deliberately presents action for you to watch, while he supports it with motions you do not perceive. Your attention is focused on what you think is the only action. Fortunately, not all the audience is fooled. They watch you and wonder why you do not see the process the magician uses. The fact is, they wonder why you are now at a stage where you only perceive his spotlighted action and do not even see the magician. You are so mesmerized that indeed the supporting motions to the actions are no longer even hidden. They proceed all around him on the stage, and still you see neither of them. How is this possible? By hypnotizing the conscious mind. Luckily, there is another part of the mind that is beyond this conscious thinking. Your psychologists call it your subconscious mind. They have painted it as holding your perception of life hostage because it is full of dark, horrible experiences perpetrated on you by well-meaning but abusive parents. As a result, you fear it and block it from participating in your experience of life. Why is the word life capitalized? Because that is the purpose of your experience on this planet. You are alive. That is aware of experiencing this life energy moving through you and played out on the screen of your observing ego mind. Ah, the ego, the devil of your existence, or so you have been led to believe. Anyone acting in a pushy manner is being egotistical. His ego has him by the necktie and is causing him to misbehave according to the imposed social norms. He is controlled by his evil subconscious acting out through his ego, and he must be brought down a peg, and that awful ego humbled into compliance. The successful businessman is successful because his inflated ego runs amok over others and snatches success from the hands of the deserving underlings, etc., etc. Need I go on painting this picture of sleight of mind? What then is the true picture? If there is no ego, there will be no awareness of the manifested experience. The ego is your tape recorder. It is the observer of your thoughts, wants, needs, and desires. It takes these thoughts in a type of robotic focused format, and this allows them to manifest into circumstances and situations that create your experience. It literally filters your thoughts, feelings, and desires and causes them to coalesce into manifested experience. It is a process, not an entity. Whoa, I like that. It is a process, not an entity. Have you ever thought of your ego as a process instead of an entity? Interesting. I just want to let that marinate for a little minute. It is a process over which you have complete control. If you can take charge of thoughts, feelings, and desires and actively direct them toward what you want to experience. These thoughts must be relatively depictive. For example, if you simply focus on change, then expect chaos within your life, for that will be the change you create, until you decide upon some more precise idea of what you want in your experience. The process of how this works involves a universal law called attraction. Once an idea is formed with the positive understanding that it is possible, then the ego holds this picture and completes the process through positive-negative polarity energy. Through the action of the law of attraction and the malleable nature of the potential of an idea actually coming into your experience, It does. Let me read that super long sentence again. Through the action of the law of attraction and the malleable nature of the potential of an idea actually coming into your experience, it does. Since instant manifestation of ideas on this planet at the moment is very difficult, the ego incorporates the process within your supporting idea of time. Maybe this is a clue as to why time is speeding up. Maybe because this whole instantaneous thing is getting closer. Orthodoxology says, LMAO, give yourself $1 million then. It's all fake, bro. Follow Jesus Christ. How did you even find this channel, man? This is beyond your evolution point. You need to go back a couple steps. I'm sure if you keep swiping, you will find something that's more your speed. Because this channel ain't it, buddy. This channel ain't it. Ego is a process. It's a process, not an entity. I'm gonna have to think on that one for a minute, because that's pretty serious right there. All right, let's keep going. Where were we? Oh, you ain't have to delete him. I wanted to see if he was gonna respond to that. I wanted to see if he was gonna respond. It's all fake. Like, what part is fake? Just say you didn't understand what was on the page, man. Just say you didn't understand it. You could have been like, what does that mean? And then we could have came to a, you know what I'm saying, an understanding point. Then he threw in the Jesus Christ part. Hey, you might need to go somewhere else, because this ain't for you. You're in the wrong restaurant. Made me lose my place. All right, through the action of the law of attraction and the malleable nature of the potential of an idea actually coming into your experience. I like that. Like, again, I feel like there's wisdom in this sentence that should be looked at a little bit more. Especially that part about the malleable nature of the potential of an idea actually coming into your experience. So let's think about an idea actually coming into your experience. Now let's think about the potential of an idea actually coming into your experience. Now let's think about the malleable nature, the changeable, adjustable, moldable nature of the potential of an idea. That plus the law of attraction. So yeah, since instant manifestation of ideas on this planet at the moment is very difficult, the ego incorporates the process within your supporting idea of time. If you are unable to remain focused on your desire of a certain experience, if you are unable to remain focused on your desire of a certain experience, then oftentimes you deny yourself that desired experience. Something about this book feels like it's, I don't know, from another dimension. A few of the books that I read have that feeling. This one has that feeling of it being from somewhere different, I'll say that. There is a comment in your Bible regarding praying amiss. Since that which you refer to as God is creative in nature, whenever you are focusing your desire in a sincere manner for an experience, then you are in constant prayer. For you are within it, this creative, expansive expression that originates within the source of your existence. But what if you are asking for something that would cause problems for someone else? The law works, but there is an effect for that which you have caused. As noted above, you are using the universal law of attraction, and its process involves like energy attracting more like energy. If you cause a problem for someone else as a purposeful use of this law, then what you create for someone else, you will also experience. I like that. As noted above, you are using the universal law of attraction, and its process involves like energy attracting more like energy. If you cause a problem for someone else as a purposeful use of this law, then what you create for someone else, you will also experience. It is like two sides of the same coin. One is presented to the other person, and one is presented to you. If you are serious in attempting to understand this law, then if you dare, look at the events that you have already experienced, and you will see that this has been the case many times. When you have wished a blessing for someone else, you also experienced one. Not in exactly the same way, but in something of meaning that came within your life. Consider also difficulties. I believe there is a reference in the Bible that instructs you to put a guard on your mouth, for the words, including thoughts, that come forth do not return empty. Dang, see, that kind of makes you think about, talking shit about people or even thinking negatively about people. Because even though things happen and people do things, it's still your choice to react, right? When you have that knee-jerk response of a negative reaction or an antagonistic reaction, right? Thinking harmfully about others. And I tell you what, like, maybe if you're just a regular person scrolling through, it might not be as powerful. But if you're someone who does practice this stuff and your psychic ability is starting to become more and more refined, you also have to start taking responsibility for what you think about other people. Yes, absolutely. Patchwork. Thank you. Patchwork says, every thought is a prayer. Every spoken word is a spell. Jebel Hale says, is that your cousin in the background, or am I tripping? In the background of what? What is it that you hear? All I hear is this dramatic ass music. And my cricket swamp nature machine chirping away. Lance Benefield says, this book is good, capital G-O-O-D. Yes, sir. I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you. It's like two sides of the same coin. One is presented to the other person, and one is presented to you. If you are serious in attempting to understand this law, then if you dare, look at the events that you have already experienced, and you will see that this has been the case many times. When you have wished a blessing for someone else, you also experienced one. Not in exactly the same way, but in something of meaning that came within your life. Consider also difficulties. I believe there is a reference in the Bible that instructs you to put a guard on your mouth, for the words, including thoughts, that come forth do not return to you empty. In utilizing this understanding, you must hold the desire steadily within your consciousness. If you err in desire by wishing to create a problem in the life of another, you have time early in the process in which to reconsider and to withdraw the focus of that intent. Then it will not manifest for them to experience. Emotion, strong feelings can increase the potential of manifestation and hurry the process, whether it is for your own good experience or for another one. The opposite is also true. It is time for the entertainment portion of this purposefully written portion of the play and the distraction of your attention from the purpose for being within this experience on planet Earth to end. Oh man, let me read that again. It is time for the entertainment portion of this purposefully written portion of the play and the distraction of your attention from your purpose of being within this experience on planet Earth to end. You must decide whether to take back your power, remove the blindfold of your own volition, or wait until it's removed for you. The picture will be even more shocking if you wait, for you will be totally unprepared for the scene planned. You will be totally unprepared for the scene planned for you to view. There is little time remaining for you to make your decision. The glitzy world you are living within is an illusion. Behind its facade is another one that plays out a game of power that requires your total cooperation and the giving over of your creative power, willingly, by overwhelming your sense of possessing any personal power whatever. Example, but what can one person do? Sound familiar? Answer, more than you can possibly imagine. But first, you must realize that you have the power. Raltz says I'm getting this book on Audible if it's on there. Travis, better audiobook though. I do remember halfway through me reading this book back in 2015, I found on YouTube the author of this book actually reading it. I remember that. I can still hear the sound of his voice reading these sentences. It's been an extremely long time since I last checked, but I believe that the author's audiobook of this book is on YouTube. You just gotta look for it. I mean, you know, things change. It might be taken down by now, but Richard Tracy says, I didn't see an Audible, but there is an audiobook on YouTube. Yeah, so that might be the one that the author read. It's difficult to describe. I just remember he reads. It sounds like he's enjoying the reading. Like, he sounds like he has a smile on his face the whole time he's reading it. So if you kind of get that vibe, then that should be the right one. Stray Panther says, off topic, anybody playing Helldivers 2? What kind of game is that? Alright, so let's see. Chapter 8, how long is this? Because it might be time to start wrapping it up. That's different. Oh, okay. Well, let's, dang. We got some different symbols coming up. Well, let's roll with it. Let's see how it goes. Chapter 8. When the conditions of deterioration surround you, how can I comment that this is a glorious day? Indeed it is. For those conditions are drawing to a close. The ending may contain many surprises. Your Armageddon will arrive, but it shall not be in a format that you have been told to expect. The forces of light and darkness shall not parry and thrust in a format of war, but nonetheless, the situation will have moments of what might be called confrontation, but it will not be in a third-dimensional battle of armaments. This should be comforting, for the power of even those third-dimensional devices can destroy the planet. This should be comforting, for the power of even those third-dimensional devices can destroy the planet. If indeed the Creator is a focus of love, then methods of destruction would not be possible. These are only possible when the distorted use of the negative polarity energy. Within the two foci of positive-negative energy lies the center point of harmony. This is the goal of all manifested energy, to exist within the harmonious point. However, it has one disadvantage in that the still point existence would allow for no movement at all. Thus, it can be maintained for only a relatively short period. As a result, there is constant movement away from and returning to this ideal. Within the totality of the galaxy, there is a balance between portions of it moving away and towards the still point. This is seen in the movement of planets and what you perceive as the Mazzaroth, which is another name of the Zodiac, which is another name for Chokmah on the Tree of Life. This is seen in the movement of planets and what you perceive as Mazzaroth, or the Zodiac, as they move in cycles around the center point of the galaxy. Within these revolving movements are many smaller cycles that you cannot observe. When a distortion occurs within one of the smaller cycles, it is allowed up to a certain point. When it reaches a point at which this distortion begins to affect larger cycles, then attention is focused to correct this distortion. This attention is now on planet Earth. You hear that? Destruction would indeed affect other cycles. One planet in your solar system was destroyed. Damn. Balance was maintained with great difficulty, but the loss of another planet would cause chaos that would be far-reaching indeed. One of the planets was destroyed in our solar system. That's why there's a big-ass asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. Sheesh. Death Star for real. Ooh, now as I think about that, I'm also thinking about the Tree of Life and the fall and the shift and the place where Doth was. Interesting. It's getting spooky here, man. It's getting spooky here. One planet in your solar system was destroyed. Balance was maintained with great difficulty, but the loss of another planet would cause chaos that would be far-reaching indeed. For this reason, a great deal of attention is now being paid to your situation. If it were not for the limiting factor of the free will of the inhabitants, balance could have been obtained long before this point. This emphasizes the importance of obtaining consent through deception of the inhabitants for the introduction of atomic destruction devices. Plans are afoot to create the very chaos that planetary destruction would bring. The stakes are very high indeed in this game of control. The plan behind this destruction is ambitious, beyond your imagination. It involves the creation of a negative polarity or negative polarity universe or galaxy. To the perpetrators of this situation, you are not even small fry in the game. This is confrontational at the level of the creator of this universe galaxy. In other words, the forces that be, they're not worried about you. This is them versus God, them versus the creator of this thing. Have we made this up? Indeed, we wish we could tell you that, but it is the usurping of your ability to make free will decisions as to whether to cooperate or not that is the small key to the success of their plans. This will allow you to understand the multiple levels of control that have been used and why your complete control, which of course is impossible, has been used as the manipulation behind your deception. Indeed, there are many levels of control of the people on your planet. Those who think they are in control and planning the scenario are just as controlled as their plan for you. As this plays out, there are elements of this situation that are going to be more surprised than your general populace. However, perhaps that surprise will be at a higher level than even that plan includes. What must be remembered in the greater perception of this is that all exists, and that does mean all that exists, and that does mean all, does so out of the potentiality that underlays manifested creation. And following the layers of energy that coagulate into manifested realities in reverse order, the building blocks become finer and finer in vibrational quality until it reaches beyond what the Kabbalah calls Ein Sof, or pure potentiality. Dang, didn't somebody mention that in the beginning of this reading? I wonder if they're still here. In order to cause an entire galaxy to change polarities, it would be necessary to return to this point to cause such an event to happen. Sheesh. Needless to say, this is an extremely simplistic explanation, but should give you an understanding of the audacity of the idea and the relative chances for its success. However, the attempt to do this by working backwards through existing creation to accomplish this goal holds within it the possibility of a pattern of resulting chaos of no small proportion. I want y'all to think about this, man. So, here we are, a bunch of regular ass people, right? Here I am in a small town in Georgia. There's literally nobody in my physical environment, well, except my cousin now, but before that, there's no physical person into any of this stuff, into Vedic stuff. Nobody that reads tarot, no astrology, Kabbalah, none of that. Like, there's no reason I should be into this. There's no influence, right? Yet, this information has filtered into my life to the point that I not only understand it, but I can help other people understand it. Think about your situation, right? You're probably a regular person who somehow came into this information, right? We got your Bobby Hemmets and your Brother Panics and everybody else, your Phil Valentines. Learning about Kabbalah, learning about all this different stuff. Now, somewhere out there are people who also understand this information and are utilizing it to the point that they're able to challenge the entire tree itself. They have the audacity to attempt to erase the tree back to the point of the Ein Sof and Ein Sof are. In a way, like the simple fact that somebody is able to even believe that is a reality, it's almost as if this information is being sent out in waves in order to build the person or the persons who can do something about that. Like, do you hear what I'm saying? There's a much bigger thing going on here than getting some likes on a YouTube video or trying to get somebody to sign up for your thing. This is going way deeper than that. Oy vey. Oy vey. I don't know. I'm just thinking about it. I'm just thinking about it. Who do you have to be? Like, what do you have to know Like, what do you have to understand about reality to even be like, you know what? We're gonna reverse the tree and send everything back to the Ein Sof and then start over. Like, a human being is saying this and actually working on that, right? I think that's pretty cool. But at the same time, it's like, shit, what's really possible with this science? Well, I mean, if it is what we've been saying it is, that concept shouldn't be too far-fetched. Are we at 11:11 yet? No, it's only 11:07. Man. All right, let's get back to it. Patrick says, how does one do that though? Erase the tree and starting over. Well, that's the thing. Like, even as Lance Benefield said, right? I said, attempting to challenge the creator, and he said that the creator is within us. Like, I think that just from what I understand, the world that we find ourselves existing in is external. It's external, right? That's the appearance. But the deeper you go internally, the deeper you go subliminally, we're all connected, right? So it would seem that there has to be some way to tap into the self to change the outside reality. So imagine being able to tap into yourself so deeply that you could change not only your immediate environment, but the universe. Like, tapping into yourself so deep that you have the very real potential of altering the universe. I mean, for real, not just on some, let me type something cool in the chat. I mean, for real. Expand that mind and consider what I'm saying. All right, let's keep going. It's getting interesting. I was gonna wrap it up, but I saw some interesting things in the pages ahead that I don't know if I can stop just yet. Let's see what we got here. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, however, the attempt to do this by working backwards through existing creation to accomplish this goal holds within it the possibility of a pattern of resulting chaos of no small proportion. This is like we stumbled upon one of the last remaining Jedi, and they're like, hey, you kind of need to learn how to use the Force immediately. Right? Because think about the last book read. It was like, congratulations, you've graduated from our quick study jumpstart to get you back on track. And now this. Oh, and by the way, Cosmic Doctrine afterwards. I don't know, man. This stuff is all happening in a strange order. This book was wrapped up, and I haven't touched it in years. So, I mean, I completely forgot about all of this. Here we are. Let's continue. Gotta save the world again, right? Now, to come upon the realization that your conscious consent had to be obtained in order to accomplish this should give you cause to take notice of your responsibility in all this. Unless you wake up and change the path down which you are moving, there is great responsibility to be faced. Granted, you have been lulled into a zombie-like existence, but that has been your choice through lack of personal responsibility toward yourselves and your fellow man. 11:11, there we have it. At the end of this sojourn into life experience, you stand and recount your experience in the light of full understanding, and it is you who judge your own actions. No one judges you. You are then aware of what might have been had you lived your experience through extending the love that created you, rather than in pursuit of distractions that gave you no real satisfaction. 1111. Thank you for reminding me. 1111. Peace, Corporeal Chaos Consulting. I mentioned save the world and I felt your presence appear. Gotta love it. Got to love it. What now do you do at this pivotal point in your time? And the knowledge of this picture, which you are hardly able to acknowledge may even be a possibility, what can you do? First, you must contemplate upon this understanding and come to face it within your own conscious thinking process. You must consider it as a possibly being true. Then you must admit to your unknowing complicity in the treatment of your fellow human beings on this planet. You must move through your regrets for having been unaware through a process of denial, for the existence of these situations was plainly presented to you by the magician. This use of your consent was by real conspirators with very large agendas to put into place. You cannot linger in the destructive guilt process. You must resolve to come into your personal responsibility to cause this situation to change from its intended path. You are expected to stop being a victim and certainly not to become a martyr, for there is no place to begin to resist this onslaught. You must vow and commit to become part of the solution. Then, despite the continued push of deceptive encroachment into your awareness, you must begin to discern what is truth. You must hold to your resolve to move through this into a new and greater understanding. When this becomes your greatest personal truth, then you will find opportunities to become part of a different movement, employing methods that will not constitute physical resistance, but will use an entirely new approach. There is no other way open for resistance on a physical level would be immediately snuffed out. Immediately snuffed out. Kinda like golden armor in the chat. Y'all got to come a little bit better than that. Your constitution is no longer an effective shield and will be dissolved. But that matters not. It is in assuming personal responsibility that when one accepts the challenge and does not fade in fear, others also shall come forth in like awareness and consciousness. Together, this spreading group awareness shall provide the pivotal point that will bring an end to the situation. The resolve to be part of the solution from the depths of personal consciousness is the key that will open the lock. And the imprisonment of humanity and bring true freedom to the inhabitants of this planet. Many are called, but few choose to respond. Where do you stand at this pivotal point? You must ask yourself, and you must answer yourself. You must ask yourself, where do you stand? And you must answer yourself. Now we got a couple of strange symbols that don't seem to indicate chapters. And I'm curious as to what this means. Let's find out. Y'all all right? We're getting to the real funky shit. Bobby! Don't come with no bullshit. It's the real deal. All right. The question of who is the focusing energy of the messages is a difficult question to answer tactfully and yet completely. Isness is the focus to be sought by each individual awareness. As each expands within the process of self-identification, so does the ability to allow the flow of isness to move through their experience. Each will attract into their awareness knowledge, to live into wisdom. The vibratory rate of the planetary environment and of the members of humanity on Earth is low enough that this ability is currently virtually inaccessible. To assist willing members of mankind to access the necessary information to provide a way to transcend this current aberrant state, various volunteer awareness points within higher vibrational frequencies have acted as booster stations to focus this information through those willing to participate on the Earth plane. Man, how long was that sentence? Knowing the custom of Earth's inhabitants requiring the personified to identify mode, names from the exotic to the ridiculous have been given as sources of this information. So with so many words. All right. So the question of who, right? Where is this information coming from? Who is this, right? Knowing the custom of Earth's inhabitants requiring the personified to identify mode, names from the exotic to the ridiculous have been given as sources of this information. The information included exercises in discernment. Most participants failed the discernment tests. Much was filled with profound truth, but much of it was drained of energy by the continual parade of victims wanting their personal problems solved for them. The information became distorted as the foci were withdrawn and the volunteers winged it or faked it on their own, for their sincerity was lost in the notoriety and greed that resulted. Page 33. In view of this history, it was the mutual agreement between the parties involved that the dictation, translation, transcription process for these messages, that the identities of the foci involved would remain unidentified, and there will be no monetary rewards whatsoever involved. Further, there will be no personal information disseminated for any one individual's benefit. The totality of the foci involved is for the benefit of the planet and its inhabitants, period. Period I, period The truth of the messages is to be discerned and used for the benefit of humanity first, and then gleaned by the individual to apply personally as part of the wholeness to which it is focused without the necessity of personal names to identify truth. If that is not understood, then the messages need to be read again to transcend this need into commitment to the holographic intention of the information they contain. I like that. The holographic intention of the information they contain. That's a cool phrase. It is hoped that the succinctness of this message is accepted in the tone of importance in which it is intended. The window of opportunity to accomplish the necessary monumental consciousness transition is small compared to the obstacles within the human belief systems that must be literally dissolved so that the whole may be transformed. Let me read that again. The window of opportunity to accomplish the necessary monumental consciousness transition is small compared to the obstacles within the human belief systems that must be literally dissolved so that the whole may be transformed. It is sincerely hoped that the truth contained will be a sword that cuts through the armor of deception and lays open the hearts and minds of the necessary quotient for success. Metaphysical Shakespeare over here. So
with so many words.
All right, so now we've got numbers. I wanted to wrap this up, but like, I really want to see what this is about, these numbers here. Or perhaps the energy is not finished with its download. I'm tired of this, Grandpa.
That's too damn bad. You keep digging.
Number 1. It is time now for the people on Earth to begin preparing for the planned changes in earnest. Many prophecies have been given to you, so many as to be confusing. This has made it possible for most to do nothing, because how could they prepare for so many different possibilities? It is imperative to begin with the most basic steps. Consider what are the most basic needs of man in the particular climatic region that you live in. Where you are, with winter coming on it, would be food, warm shelter, and water. If warmth would be critical, it should be addressed. Let us take a hypothetical example of an earth change disaster. Suppose there was an especially severe winter storm in your area. This would be a storm that involves high winds, extreme cold, and quantities of blowing and drifting snow. The electrical power would be, of course, cut off. Even if was available, it would be unavailable to you unless there was a gas-powered fireplace. Without electricity, you could not cook on your electric stove. There would be no electric lights, the streets would be impassable, and probably telephone lines would be cut out. So you could contact no one. What would be your plan? Have you even thought one possibility through to this extent? I suggest that you have at least basic emergency supplies available at home, or perhaps in your auto, as you are seldom anywhere without it being close by. A camp stove with fuel, some canned or dehydrated food, sleeping bag, and most important of all, water. Be sure all is in working order. Test them to be sure you know how to use them. See that all parts are there. Know what it is that you should do. That you would do. Watch your weather forecasts and be aware that any potential storm can be strengthened and steered. Instruments are in place and in use with the sophistication to do this. HARP. Was HARP a big topic back in 1999? Or was it? I don't think I heard about HARP stuff until like 2012. Interesting. Anyways, inasmuch as we cannot interfere, we cannot protect you from this possibility. Of course, this discussion has centered on only one of many possibilities. You may expect these to be happening around the planet as the equipment is tested in order to understand its capabilities before coming up with a planned sequence of scenarios to help them achieve their goals. Check your food supplies. Long-keeping winter vegetables are a wise investment, and do cook them to learn how. For most of you have fallen into the prepared food trap. Available lake or river water could be frozen and is seldom pure enough to drink. Water storage is wise, and even that will not stay pure without special care. A camping purifier pump is available with extra filters. Consider adding a first aid kit. Change of clothing, etc. I strongly suggest that you take stock, make a plan, and actually put together a workable short-term emergency kit and have it in place. Once that is completed, then add long-term necessities on a regular basis. Once this is accomplished, you can then turn your attention to the business at hand. There was an old typing class exercise. Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of your country. It would seem to me that this is most appropriate now. But in coming to the aid of the country, one must put him or herself in a position of confidence so that in a crisis, attention can be turned outward to those in need, rather than scrambling to meet one's own personal needs. In closing our first session, I would remind you that the days of greater chaos are drawing closer in an ascending quickness. Let us continue these sessions so that our clarity may increase and our messages may become truly a guiding light into the darkening of the days ahead. Sometimes it is necessary for darkness to descend before people can become aware of a light that has been shining all along. Thus shall the coming together of the true family of light bearers serve to vanquish the deeds of those with dark intentions. Always remember things work together to bring forth that which was planned long ago. For God's plans cannot be thwarted. The duration and complexity of events can be altered if there is a faltering of faith and action on the part of those that have been placed in stations of service. None are placed who do not have the ability to accomplish their missions. Some will falter and perhaps even fail. That, of course, is a possibility, but backups are in place and things will move forward in divine order. If you trust the knowledge that there is indeed an overall plan, a larger picture, and that it will succeed, then your own courage and faith will be less likely to falter. Trust the plan and pay no attention to the day-to-day details. This knowingness will be your rock on which to lean, your touchstone of faith. Number 2, let us begin on this new day in quest of a new day. The people of your planet sink further into the morass of depression and suppression. There is nothing but doom and gloom reported all around them. And for a lack of vision of light, all appears to be fading into darkness. The focus of attention to the devils of dark doings does not resolve the issue. In order for light to triumph over darkness, there must be a vision of the light that translates into recognizable reality. Let us use the birth of the United States as an example. Though we cannot cover the details, we can look at the process as it is known. There were those who came together to envision something that was different than what was currently being experienced by the planetary inhabitants. No one person brought forth the vision. It was a composite of the inspirations that were but pieces of the whole. This process must be repeated again. There are those who believe that you should return to what you have had before. Let us say that even that would not resolve the issues at hand. The founding fathers did not have instant communication, the internet, exotic surveillance methods, under and above the sea devices, as well as horrendous weapons of destruction with which to deal. Yeah, George Washington didn't have to go up against all that stuff. You have allowed these to be created, and though you long to return to a simpler time, you will either tame these or they will destroy you. You must look past the need to merely survive the methods of trickery designed to annihilate you and dream what you would have instead of the chaos of darkness. There he goes with that again. It's not about focusing on what the Illuminati's doing. It's not about focusing on what the Demiurge and the Archons is doing. You must look past the need to merely survive the methods of trickery designed to annihilate you and dream what you would have instead of the darkness and chaos. It is as simple as that, for as long as you choose to merely withstand and only survive the onslaughts of the oppressors, you're sinking deeper into the morass. You will only rise to the top with a new vision. You will only rise to the top with a new vision. We cannot give you that vision. The Book of Spiritual Laws provides some guidelines, however. The vision must be simple to be powerful. It must be visual in its simplicity so that the people now surrounded in darkness can literally be struck with its beauty and feel called to its simplicity and clarity. How do you do this? A small group cannot do it alone. A nucleus must come together, and as they begin the process, others of vision will be drawn to it. In fact, literally sent. The time for beginning this project is not at a convenient time later, but now. There is no time to be wasted if you are to accomplish this. To tarry will only make it more difficult and bring more suffering to the already oppressed. The window will close in literally weeks, if not begun. I know you are caught up in the process of illuminating the details of the chaos, but what has that done to stop it? That's a question to ask those of you who are obsessed with the conspiracies. Funny story, when I was going to school in Orlando, Full Sail University, I was roommating with these two guys. They were going to be like movie directors or something like that. That's what they wanted to do, filmography. And I remember telling them about the Illuminati. Like, I was the one to break them in about that. Their mind was blown. Oh my God, Illuminati, and they're doing this, that, and the third. And by the end of all of it, they had made up their minds. We're gonna stop the Illuminati. We're gonna fight back. We're gonna be the ones to go in there and destroy the Illuminati. Young folks, of course. And I'm like, that's not how it works, guys. That's not how it works. But hey, they just had their mind set on being the ones who were going to take down the Illuminati, just the two of them. Let me stop, because anything else I'll say would be mean. I know you were caught up in the process of illuminating the details of the chaos, but what has that done to stop it? Can you actually see anything happening to change the speed of the decline? Then you must change your perspective. Look in the opposite direction. Are you part of the problem by observing it? Or can you become part of the solution by looking for the building blocks of what you want instead? And that's so powerful, right? Yeah, of course, we can laugh at Diddy the Diddler and look at all the drama of all the celebrities being taken down and all this other stuff. You know, we can get upset about the president, Donald Trump and Biden and all this other stuff. Whatever is on the news, right? We can entertain that stuff all day, every day. We can complain about the violence and the drugs and deaths and the brutalities and all this other stuff. We can do that, and I love the excuse people give, like, oh, I'm just trying to bring awareness to the people. The people don't need you to bring awareness. Like, everybody literally has access to it. We need to bring awareness to this. No, awareness is being brought on its own. The only power that you have is being able to focus, visualize, and create based off of that visualization. And you're telling me you're going to sit here and use that to just focus on the problem itself? The people need to know. Anyway, look in the opposite direction. Are you part of the problem by observing it? Or can you become part of the solution by looking for the building blocks of what you want instead. Begin in your meditations to ask who would serve well on this project. This is not an esoteric process for people who are looking to give lip service and stand on the sidelines and observe. This is for visionary realists that may never actually observe the extent of the work they do now until the very end. These people will be able to look beyond the chaos and recognize the opportunity. I suppose you might say these are people with one foot in each world, who can look into both without losing their balance. Once you start looking for them, you will soon find them coming into your experience in what may seem too unusual to be accidental. Meet in 3s, 7s, and 12s. This is the most important step to be taken now. Know that all help possible will be given on request. Many ideas will float through, but those of value will take root, and the dream will become real. But first, it must be conceived before it can be born. You need not feel total responsibility for any phase, only for the initial promotion of the idea. The hour is desperate, and the plans of God hinge upon the people of service. The awareness of the need for change is well established in the consciousness of many. Now the vision must be planted, that it may sprout and come to fruition. May your day be blessed with the love that is yours, for you are love in manifestation. It is your job and your privilege to focus it, that God may stand forth in freedom and truth in the experience of his beloved children. All right, so we're 40 pages in. 40 pages in. Let me see. Oh, wow. So these numbers continue. All right, so that's a different type of book or a different type of format. All right. So we're going to wrap it up there. We're going to put a stopping point there. I guess we can continue reading this on different days. I need a bookmark. That's what I need. A bookmark. Did you enjoy the concepts that this book has brought to the table? I certainly did. This is some cool stuff right here. Or as I ask my son after I cook him dinner, since he was a baby, like it? I don't think he's ever answered no to that question. Well, that's appropriate. We are evolving. Yeah, that's an appropriate bookmark. We are evolving. There we go. All right. That's where we will pause and stop. Figure out a good time to continue this. Like I said, maybe weekdays or something like that. Interesting. All right, how many people were here from day one? Excuse me, how many people were here from page one? Routes asks, what are in the bottles on the bookmark? This is spirulina and chlorophyll stuff. Green stuff. Yeah, that's it. Well, at least what I bought was chlorophyll. Yeah, liquid chlorophyll, curcumin, uric acid, that kind of thing. It's a decent brand. I like it. All right, so my big thing is that, like I said, I haven't really read this book in 10 years, just about. But one thing I do remember is that first chapter. So hopefully this gave you some new things to think about, right? Because it's super easy to kind of just get caught up in routine, like day after day after day after day. Every now and then you need to kind of introduce something that, mixes things up a bit. Hopefully this gave you a little bit of a mix-up, because it certainly did for me. I don't know what we're building, but something has to be built. And it's also good to remember that there's a bigger picture at play. Like, this isn't just about whatever you've reduced it to. It's not just about going to work and eating your food and posting on social media and scrolling past the bullshit. Like, there's a lot more going on that we often forget because we don't see it. I mean, the synchronicities help to remind me that. The psychic insight helps to remind me of that. But there's a much bigger picture. Like, you're not here alone just trying to keep up and trying to survive. Like, there's more to it. There's a lot more to it. We're all part of an ecosystem. We're all part of a system here. I'll have to save this music so I can be consistent with the live streams and play this on the next time I read this book. All right, well, yeah, I hope you guys liked it. We'll probably read this again on a weekday. Now, as for next Saturday, which is in a week, we're going to get deep with Dion Fortune, the one and only, quite possibly my favorite author. She's bringing it. She done brought it. I don't know why, but so many people think that Dion Fortune is a dude. Not that it really matters. I just think it's kind of funny. Well, yeah, thank you for being here. Hopefully you got something out of this that you can take with you. Remember some of the things that were said. I hope that you took notes. Aw, thank you, Anna Molly. Anna Molly says really good stuff. Thank you for being awesome. All right, I read long enough just to get sleepy. I guess I got some work to do in the astral plane. Or whatever y'all young folks say. Oh yeah, did you catch yesterday's live stream where I was going through the tarot card correspondences? I found some more patterns, if you remember that. So as I started to memorize the patterns that I saw in the tarot cards, one of the things that I noticed is that basically it's following the tree of life. So if you know how the tree of life is situated, right, you got your, oh, this person thinks that they're gonna spam the comments. Anyways, so looking at the wands, right? Starting with the 2, the 3, and the 4. If you were here, then you know that the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s of any suit represent the cardinal signs. So wands, of course, are fire. Cups, water. Swords, air. Pentacles, earth. We know that. The 2s, the 3s, and the 4s, these are cardinal. So the 2, 3, and the 4, those are going to be Aries. The 5s, the 6s, and the 7s, that's going to be fixed. Fixed fire is Leo, right? The 8, the 9, and the 10 is going to be mutable. Mutable fire is, of course, Sagittarius. So what I noticed is, like, I was thinking to myself, oh, I'll just memorize the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s first. And what I saw was this. It follows the tree of life. If you got a picture of the tree of life in front of you, you'll see that this goes in order from Gibera to Tifereth to Netzach. Right? From Netzach to Hod to Yesod. Right? And we skip Earth and we go back to Saturn. So Yesod, Bina, Chesed, right? Then back to Gibera and then Tifereth. So there's a pattern there. The 2s, the 3s, and the 4s all being the cardinal. They go from one sphere to the next sphere, going downward, and then it goes back up. I saw the same thing happening down here. From Saturn to Jupiter to Mars, Sun, Venus, Mercury, Moon. It's the same pattern that repeats. Richard Tracy says, red or white? Hell, any and all. Any and all. All the cards have the same root correspondence. So I'm still trying to just figure out a good pattern for myself so I can memorize the planetary astrological correspondences behind the minor arcana. But I thought that was pretty cool that I saw another pattern. Right? It follows the tree of life for sure. It might look complicated, but it really isn't. And like I mentioned last night, I didn't draw the astrological signs next to the others because I'm using that as an opportunity for myself to make sure that I can recall it without having to look at it. So the cardinal, the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s of cups are going to be ruled by Cancer. The 5, the 6, and the 7, that's going to be ruled by Scorpio. The 8, the 9, and 10, that's going to be ruled by Pisces. The swords, the 2s, the 3s, and the 4s, that's going to be Libra. It's going to be Libra. The 5s, the 6, and 7, that's going to be Aquarius. The 8s, the 9s, and 10, that's going to be Gemini. The 2s, the 3s, and 4s, that's going to be Capricorn. The 5, the 6, the 7, the 5, the 6, the 7, that's going to be Taurus. The 8, the 9, the 10, that's going to be Virgo. So I know that. It's just the actual planet parts that I want to memorize. But yeah, you got it. You got it. I haven't heard a single tarot reader talk about this right here. In fact, the only place I've really heard of this or seen this was in the book, The Kabbalistic Tarot. And then, of course, in the Hermetic Tarot and also in the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic, you'll see these correspondences on the cards. Let me show you. So basically, this is some Aleister Crowley type stuff. You know, the Tarot of Ceremonial Magic. I may have shown this book before, may not. But anyways, as you go into looking at these cards, like you'll see the significance, like what I said. This is the 9 of Cups. So the 9 of Cups is going to be Jupiter and Pisces, right? 9 of Cups, Jupiter and Pisces. So what do we see on the chart that I just wrote? Cups, yep. There's the 9, Jupiter, and like I said, that's in Pisces. So you'll see, like, it doesn't matter what deck you're using, they all have the same astrological correspondence. And it's the astrological correspondences that actually give you the meaning of these cards, right? Not the pictures. You can draw whatever picture. The pictures are the expression, right? I want to get to the essence of this energy. All right. Speaking of which, the Nine of Cups, that's material happiness, good fortune, joy, gladness, self-fulfillment. That's what we have to look forward to. That's for sure. All is well. All right, y'all. So let's suppose that we will wrap it up. Suppose that we will wrap it up. Hope y'all have a good evening. I feel like this is productive. This was definitely worth it. Hazard Pie says it's going to take some time for me to get this. Yeah, repetition is very helpful. What I plan on doing is taking a fresh sheet of paper and drawing all these out. Maybe not every day, but as often as possible. Because I know that helps. Also, actually having the cards out while I go through the correspondences and linking them visually and speaking out loud what it is. Like little basic stuff like that, it's kind of tedious, but it does help, especially when you do it over and over and over again. Like that's how I was able to memorize what cards go with the paths on the tree. Right, and I've actually done videos on that, of me going through that process, where you literally take the cards and you lay them out on the paths. Each of these paths symbolize the energies of the particular card, right? So this path here, the Strength card. This path here is the Emperor card. This path here is the Fool card. This path here is the Empress card. There's the Magician. And while it seems like a lot, I learned it by literally just laying out the cards over and over. And at the same time, you'll find that the major arcana, not only are they a path, but they also represent either one of the 12 signs or one of the 7 planets or one of 3 elements. So what I'm saying is just routine physical repetition. Routine physical repetition. It goes pretty far. We have a visual symbol like this to look at and just consistently stick with it. You can get it faster than you'd imagine. That's the whole reason I'm even tackling this concept of memorizing the correspondences, because I know that with routine practice, I'll be able to get it pretty quickly. All right. Hope you enjoy your night. I'm about to do something else and let my subconscious digest that handbook for a new paradigm. Y'all have a good evening. It is always great pleasure, great fun hanging out with you all. Thank you so much for your time, your energy, your focus. Thank you for doing what you're supposed to be doing. Helps me do what I'm supposed to do. Plus, it's nice to know you're not the only one with some sense. All right. Well, have a good night. Catch you next time. This is TK Trav, aka Travis Magus, here with LVX777. I love you all. Peace. Remember to think new thoughts. Try something that you haven't tried before. You gotta expand outside of the box to bring in something new. I got to do the same thing.